Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs,
We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone.
if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset,
We are striving for more.
start taking iron today.
This is Michael Tyson. You probably know me better as Iron Mike, but I don't go by Iron Mike no more because I used to be a monster. I'm a different person now. I'm all about happiness. But what is happiness? I'll tell you what happiness is. Every time I listen to my favorite show, Iron Realm Media, it's a truther show on YouTube.
It's Friday, my dudes.
Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, I get it eventually. I just got to find the right button. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Have No Sphere. Right here on the Iron Realm Media YouTube and Rumble channels. Not on Free World. Right. Get out of that mode. I'm really looking forward to tonight. I think it's going to be a really exciting conversation. This is one I've been really curious about. I've seen it mentioned in chat a few times. I've heard it being taken down off of YouTube, heavily censored this topic. I'm going to be really excited to get into it with our buddy Ian. But first, we're going to say hello. Well, because I can't really see, I'm just going to start adding people and see who it is that pops up. It's Mr. Walter Johnson. You might recognize him from his little channel here on YouTube, Flat Earth Head. Walter, how you doing? You staying warm, staying dry, staying out of the snow?
Muted.
Yeah, you're muted. What they did was they had a bit of a water main break there in town, so he's without water, and he may just be dehydrated and not thinking clearly. Or it could be Skype. Now that I say that, it's probably a 50-50 shot. But I know he was there. He had to feed cats. Doesn't look like he's sitting. Here he comes, rolling in. Didn't pop his earbud in. He's got to turn it on and realize we've been sitting here talking to him, waiting for him to answer. But
I thought you saw me go away with the camera on. I forgot to put a background up. Sorry. Something was going on outside.
No,
I had to attend to.
No worries. I was just asking how you doing, making sure you were staying warm, staying dry, staying hydrated.
I am warm. I am very dry. I am unfortunately hydrated by a bunch of bottles and weird cartoned water that they gave us yesterday because we're still trickling. It's a bigger trickle, so that means they're getting it repaired, I guess. This morning it was literally like a millimeter trickle wide. Now it's about a half-inch trickle wide. So it's getting there. But yeah, still no water. So
That sucks.
but everything's good. We're good. We're making it. Tomorrow, if it doesn't. Oh, sorry. I thought something happened again. Let me go shut this other door. I didn't realize the TV was that loud. My apologies.
No,
Anyway, I'm
you're
here.
fine.
I'm good. Cats are good. Y'all hear enough of me. We're here about Ian. So I'll say hi and I'll shut up.
All right. Now that I got you loaded, I think I can figure out who this is, and we're going to say hello to Mrs. Cammie Nodell. You might recognize Cammie from her little channel here on YouTube called Aisling717. Hi, Cammie. How you doing?
Doing good, Josh. How are you doing?
You know, getting old sucks. Other than that, I guess good.
It only gets worse. Gets a lot worse from where you're at. So,
Well, don't tell me that. I'm supposed to be having eye surgery, and that's supposed to make it better.
I've done some eye surgery. I hope that you have better luck than I do.
See, this is the problem that I have is what I told the doctor is that anecdotally speaking, more people that I've heard having eye surgeries come out of it with worse vision than going in. So there's that. That being said, I don't know what else you could really do for these cataracts that I've got beyond just ripping that lens off and trying to slap a clear one on. I don't know. We'll see how much they're going to try to charge me for the corrective lenses and the astigmatism lenses on top of ripping the old ones off. I may be $5,000-$6,000 in the hole before it's all said and done. We'll see.
Well, best of luck for you. That's like no fun at all on any front, though I do hope. I mean, eyesight is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I've lost a lot of mine, or pieces of it. So hold on to what you can and enjoy it. And yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, it's being a real pain in my ass having to drive around.
The driving is the worst. The driving is the absolute worst. Especially at like dawn and dusk.
I don't know why I feel so guilty. So, I guess there's guilt, but it's shame, maybe even. Might even be a better word to describe it. Just for having bad eyesight. Like there's something I could have done about it, maybe. Maybe if I smoked less, it would have done better. But I just found this out that my dad had his cataracts removed right around the age of 50. So he was probably right around my age when he had his done because he had 2. So,
Well, not to derail things before we get to Ian, but have you looked into increasing RSO intake?
no. Don't believe that would be a good idea. Increasing my RSO. I try to ride the line as it is.
I mean, it's been a miracle in every respect for me and things I never expected for my health. So I'll do some research. I'll talk to some people. We'll see.
We'll just take that DMSO and mix it all together with a little bit of RSO.
Mix it up.
And
That's it.
raw dog that shit right into my eyeball.
Right?
That's castor oil.
That might not be a bad addition. We'll just make a whole freaking cocktail. I'll get a big black cauldron and a few witches. Bubble, bubble, toil, and trouble. All right, let's get this moved on. Enough about my shitty eyes. Let's say hello to Mr. Zachary Zabala. He's got a channel on YouTube called Good Times for All. Spelled not quite as you would imagine. Good luck trying to find it. Zach, how the hell are you doing?
Too shabby. Been a interesting day, to say the least. I'm just on a tear, dude. He can't keep this up for 4 years. There's no way he can be like on. I get it. He just started, but a lot of those promises that they were making, they're doing. It's weird.
It does.
Living in these.
Even as you're saying it, he's doing as much of the things he said what he could say, And now he is doing as much of what he said by executive order. Now we'll see how effective he is at actually governing and getting the entire rest of the government to fall in line to do his bidding. But as it is, yeah, you spend a couple hours just making executive fiat decisions and legislating with the stroke of a pen. Yeah, I suppose you can get as much done as you possibly can that way. I don't know that it's going to be.
See him do the whole. He said today he wanted to get rid of FEMA. He was in North Carolina, Asheville, visiting all the victims there. And yeah, he was saying, we should just do away with FEMA. This isn't the first time that, they've been lacking during a disaster. They just seem to make things worse. But I'd rather just give the funding to the states and the people who are actually there that live there.
Did so during Katrina. Come on, man.
Exactly, dude. This isn't their first time. They've totally made things 10 times worse than they should have been.
Was it in Florida, skipping houses that had Trump signs in it?
Mm-hmm.
Had to fire somebody over that shit.
Yeah, so, hey, any president saying that the federal government needs less power, like you were saying earlier, Josh, I agree with that. Wholeheartedly. Troops on the border now, down in the Southwest, there's 4,000, 1,400 reserves or 1,600 reserves, something like that. 2,400 Army and Marines. And they weren't out there in trucks or anything. They had the big giant helicopters with the dual rotor blade on wings and shit. Yeah, I think they're just showing their force a little bit. Like, hey, look, we're here. We got big stuff. Don't come.
I will say that is a thing.
Yeah.
Like you give them the toys and you train them on the toys and then you expect them to never, ever, ever use the toys. But we want to use the toys. We like to use the toys. We got them. That's what the toys are for.
Yeah. They're especially to protect the border. I'd rather them doing it on our border than in some foreign country we're not even supposed to be in. Just fucking pissing people off all over the world. I'd rather them here protecting our country.
Just strafing runs right down the Rio Grande.
A-10 warthogs.
That's just a poor joke. I do not mean it. We should not be doing strafing runs down the Rio Grande. We should not be placing water mines in the Rio Grande. That being said, they should also stay on the other side of the fucking border.
It's definitely an interesting time. But enough of all that. Let's say hello.
Yes, I was just about to move it along.
Well, in Canada, they don't got to deal with this particular flavor of bullshit. But our buddy Ian from chat had mentioned in chat that he was going to start a training program, a certification program. Mace Energy Method. I had never heard of it. It was all new to me. And in the chaos of life, I just never actually dug into it very much. I think I sort of had maybe a very basic, cursory, elementary, and redundant understanding of what it was. But we wanted to get Ian on here to really dive into it so he can really explain to us what it is that he's doing and the ways that he's helping people and the way that this methodology goes about helping people. Everybody, welcome Ian. Ian, you've been on once before. Is that right? Seems like
that's right. I was on, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years ago now. Daryl Davis and Mike.
That's right, the fucking 420 show.
420. Yep. And somebody else, I think Thunder Chicken was on that show, maybe even?
I believe so. Yep.
Lee was on that show. He definitely was.
Yeah, that was many moons ago.
That was many moons ago. Well, welcome back.
Good to have you back, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I really appreciate being here. I try to join all the time. Can't get all the shows, but certainly try to get many of them.
Well, we do appreciate
You're there all the time is the way it feels to me, my friend. In fact, I can't even look at a cat anymore without hearing it's a baby kitty in my head.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I got a couple of the baby kitties running around here, so they might show up at some point.
Well, I guess we're not going to dive too much into your past and your history and into your skeletons in your closet, and we can just jump right into some of this Mace Energy stuff. So we'll just, first off, where did you originally hear about it?
Well, see, that's what's going to be the funny part, because I learned about it right here.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, Jerry Merzinski was a guest on here. Actually,
Amazing.
You guys had him on 2 or 3 times, probably.
Yeah.
And his big thing was about the psychiatric industry and psychiatric drugs and the mind monsters and the voices in your heads and psychotics and stuff like that. And he would, at the very end of those episodes, and I learned about him from you guys and watched many, many of his episodes, but he's on with other folks. And at the end of it, he would say that the only thing that he found that was anywhere beneficial was Mace Method. And of course, so you go back and take a look at that and Google it. And, they have John Mace, who kind of discovered all this and put it all together. Excuse me. He was a ship captain, and he spent many, many hours reading all the great writers. From Aristotle to everything, right? Carl Jung and, everything, Sigmund Freud. And he kind of put it all together. And he realized that it wasn't what we kind of been taught. So at the end of the day, what he determined is, we kind of have the understanding that we're made up of our body, our mind, and our spirit. Well, he has figured out that there's a fourth part, and he calls it an identity. And we all have identities. Like we have an identity to drive the car. You teach yourself to drive a car, and then sometimes you can get home and you don't even remember driving your car because you're talking about yourself about this thing that happened at work or whatever. And you get home, it's like, I don't remember driving home, but there you are sitting in your driveway, right? That's an identity. You have an identity when to be a husband. You have an identity to be a father. You have an identity to be, an employee, a brother. Everything, right? So when we go through an upset, we can have one created, and typically it's a negative one. When you're upset, you make poor decisions, and you blame yourself typically. And you're very hard on yourself, and you turn on yourself, and you make a decision that is wrong, but you put a lot of energy into it. And because you hate it, you fight against it. And what you resist persists. And these things just kind of fester and fester. And, you just sweep it under the rug to make the feelings go away. And then you might live that way until the next time you get triggered, and then flare up and you get all angry or whatever the case may be, sad or jealous or whatever the emotion is. And so you hate that once again, so you fight against it to put it down, and you sweep it under the rug, and it can become that's what a negative identity is. And these are all caused by an upset, and they're linked to upset. So something that happened when you're 5, every time that similar type of situation arises, you become that person you became that day. And you react the same way because you're running a program now. Just a script in your mind, you get angry. One of the things I would analogies I use is, you drive home from work every day and you always get cut off in traffic and you're pissed off every time you get home. So you're walking through the house, slamming doors, and you do it for 20 years. You don't even know you're doing it after a while, right? You just come home, you're slamming doors because and every single day it's the same thing. You're mad when you get home, you have a couple of beers and, you calm down, you go have dinner, life's good. Well, now, then you go through a Mace session and you no longer get pissed off getting cut off on the highway. Somebody still cuts you off and, whatever, but you're not angry anymore. So you get home and you're walking around slamming doors still and like, what the heck am I doing, right? Well, you have habits that you've formed over, however many years that you're acting out. So you have to kind of deal with that as well. But the Mace Energy method is really what they make it out to be, and you just stop having the negative feelings. You have all the memories. The analogy is, think about brushing your teeth this morning. You remember brushing your teeth? Of course you do. What kind of reaction did you have? Well, nothing. I was just brushing my teeth. Well, now that incident that used to piss you off has the same kind of impact on your life. So you don't get triggered. You don't get angry. You can, and now that you're not angry or you're not reacting, you get to respond. And that's the beauty of it. Now you have control because you can do whatever response you want to do. And whenever you do that, it's always in your own favor. When you react, you're always running that old program, and that could be whatever that's going to be.
So, let me see how to get to this topic without it becoming an issue that I'm afraid it might. How does one go about ridding oneself of that program? Please don't say get clear. Please don't say get clear.
So it works on the energetic level, not the physical level. Basically, you're dealing with the emotions, with the feelings. So as a practitioner, I'm going to ask you to think of an upset. And I don't want to know any of the personal information. I don't care when it happened, who was there. None of that stuff matters. Whether you're 2 or 15 or 35, none of that matters. All that matters is how it made you feel. You take an event and you really feel that feeling. Now, something happens. Once again, we go back to John Mace and his research. And so he determined that your mind doesn't do anything. That they kind of led us to believe it doesn't think, it doesn't reason, it doesn't have feelings. What he determined is your mind is like a computer screen, just a response system. So if you want to play with that, close your eyes and think of an apple. Close your eyes and think of an apple. Tell me, what color is the apple?
Red.
Okay, so think of a car. You see a car?
Yeah.
What color is the car?
Maybe blue.
Blue.
Okay, so open your eyes. So every time I put your attention on something, your mind draws an image of what you conceptualize that to be. You have this vision of an apple. When I say apple, your mind makes that image. You have an image of your car, whatever car you're thinking of, right? Could be a Model A from back in the day. Whatever you in your mind visualize when you hear apple, your car. Well, what he figured out was the same thing happens when you think about emotions, when you think about upsets. So when you think about that guy cutting you off and you get real angry, it will create an image in your mind. When you sit and just kind of look at it, you will see a picture. And that picture could be anything. It could be a cartoon, it could be a color, it could be waves, it could be anything. All that means is that image is what you conceptualize that emotion to be. You know what I mean?
think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go
let's
ahead.
Step away from that for a second and think about a video game. Now, in the energy world, we are once again. So we're people, us here. We're physical bodies. So we're human, which is made up of our physical form and our spirit, or our soul. Plus, we have these identities, which are, I guess, kind of a mask to who you are. And if we look at the analogy of video game, let's take, Link. So you're a little guy, you're walking around, you're level 20, and you're doing battle with a level 15 bad guy. Easy to beat up, no problem. You increase. Well, if you keep doing battle with the monster at the end of the maze, and you keep losing because he's a level 50, you can never get past him. Well, if we kind of use that, okay, so we are Link, and we have a level, let's say 20, and a negative upset will have an impact on your life of 15. And whenever you come up against that, it takes the shit out of your day, but you deal with it, right? Well, if you're not well and you're feeling low, all of a sudden maybe you're not your normal 20 level, you dip down to a 14 just because you're having a shit day, you didn't sleep for 2 weeks, you're stressed like crap at work, you're detoxing because it's autumn in the year or whatever the case may be, and now you're at like a level 14. Well, that normal 15 bad guy can do you in. And you get total mad and you start screaming at your wife or whatever the case may be because you lost that little battle. So if we use that and kind of think about that, so when you have that image come up in your mind, that is that negative or that 15 character, and you're that 20 character looking at it. Well, in the true outside energy world, you are part soul, and that soul is standing kind of beside you, and it's like level million. And what you're doing in this little thing here is you're just kind of letting your soul take over the battle. And that level million dissolves that level 15 without any kind of struggle. And what kind of happens is you're sitting there and you're looking at this image, and it will grow. And I think it grows to the proportion that you put energy into it. So, it can be as big as a house, it could be as big as a mountain, it could be as big as the earth, compared to you. Because you, all of a sudden, you feel like a little tiny dot beside it. And that's the power that it has in your world. But then all of a sudden, you're standing there and you're seeing this and you're making this little comparison. And then the soul says, okay, buddy, hang on, I'll take over. And that thing will shrink and go away. And it just shrinks and goes away, or it'll fade away, or it can, mist away. It can go many, many different ways. But, the book would say that it will shrink and just shrink. And when it's gone, it's gone. And it takes that negative identity with it. And because we are creatures of survival, we don't do things to harm us. Now, that was created back in the day when you didn't know any better, and you were reacting very, very poorly to something that was very traumatic. And, that's where it came from. But, okay, so the thing is, you wouldn't take your hand and stick it in a pot of boiling water, would you, right? There's no better. So now you're not going to recreate that identity because you know better. And you just don't. Now, when that upset reoccurs in the future, it just doesn't have the emotional energy anymore. And you can respond instead of that old reaction. And it's you know, it even gets kind of better, because when we look at the nature of upsets, you might have, just say for a number, 1,000 upsets through your life. And the top 70% could come from 2 or 3 different themes, not from 2 or 3 different upsets. You could be, once again, could be 100 upsets, but they all have the same theme, you know, when, you know, that kind of thing triggers you. So when you get rid of one, you get rid of them all. So typically when we go through our session, we address your number one upset and the number one decision made in that upset. Those are the first 2 things you go after as a like through a session. And that takes care of so much of your baggage, because it typically will fall under that umbrella. And then you go after problems with the person's relationship. So, and it's kind of approached in a very similar manner, where you find out basically what's the worst relationship problem, and you take the decision made of that, you know, kind of thing, the same, and you just go through it. And it's all the same little process where you just, feel the feeling, really experience a feeling, and just, it, you know, and if you don't have an image come up in your mind, I'm going to ask you for traits of that experience, how it made you feel, and you're going to describe it. You know, well, it made me feel angry, oh, it made me feel sad, or maybe, you know, and you're going to take those little pieces and you will just create an image in your mind. And once you have that image, you start comparing yourself to it, and then it'll grow to its full size, and then your soul takes over and just squashes it like a bug, and it'll go away, and you get to move on. Freaking awesome.
Sorry, I'm just absorbing.
Yeah, well,
So I watched Jerry talk about this for a bunch of episodes. I went to the website and started studying it. I went out and bought John's book and read it, and really got a pretty decent understanding of what was going on. Really kind of thought I wanted to do this to help people. And then I had my session. And I called them up, and I got a session. I just go to the website, and you can go and look at all the different practitioners and pick the one that's your favorite in your time zone, whatever the case may be. And you send them money, and they zoom you in, and life is good. So when I finished that, I'm like, really, I wanted to make sure I had all access to the best training, which was going to be going through the Institute and doing the formal training. And so that's what I chose to do. You know, it affords me the ability to have a whole team that I can gain from their experiences. You know, I have, I get to put my name on the website too. But I mean, it's, you know, I wanted, because I found it to be so powerful and so amazing, I wanted to have all the best tools in my disposal to help my friends and family. Because, you know, it's so amazing. So I've been blessed with the ability to take the training, and I had some amazing people to work with who led me through the training, and I'm happily helping people now. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. So, how long do one of these sessions usually take before you're seeing noticeable changes?
Well, we typically book, the first session is going to be 2 meetings. The first meeting is, you know, if everything goes smoothly, it can happen in 1 hour and 45. But it can go, I mean, I usually would ask you to set aside 2.5 hours. Just, you know, to gives a bit of elbow room, so we're not pressed for time. People get, I got 2 hours and I got 10 seconds more. So, just to kind of alleviate that, I plan for 2.5 hours for the first session. The second session is going to probably be about 45. So I try to, book an hour or two, just, so once again, we're not into any time constraints. I'm still pretty new at it, so I want to not rush myself. I want to make sure I cover all, and it'll get to the point where, I'm just scanning your body. I'm not scanning your body. I'm having you scan your body and just go through it 100 times. Is there anything that bugs you? Anything that bugs you? Anything impinging? And until you say no, we're going to keep going. And if it takes 3 hours, then it takes 3 hours. But once again, we get lucky because if there is a ton of stuff, there's a really good chance that there's a bunch of them fall under umbrellas. So if you start seeing a pattern, you go after that pattern, and then you can wipe out a whole whack of stuff with one little image. So a typical session is going to be a couple hours the first day, and then a week later we'll do another hour. And one of the things that these guys, some of them do and some of them don't, and I chose to do would be give you an additional session that you can bank for down the road. 6 months, a year down the road, next week, whenever you want it. Let me know, and we'll give you another hour. That would be like a full session.
So I know there's causality between emotion and physical health. And so it sounds like while this focuses mostly on the underlying emotional trauma and triggers and scripts and things that have been ingrained into you, the checking each part of your body part sounds very physical. So I'm taking that this is a whole body, full, holistic approach to just getting things back in sync, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, what we do see is a lot of physical pain will come from an energy blockage. And you can't physically, excuse me, you got your shoulder sore, your back is sore. And that could be the result of, energy impinging due to that trauma that you had when you were 10. Not a physical trauma, an emotional trauma. So we find that once you resolve the emotional trauma, your body can very easily heal the physical body. As our bodies are amazing machines that are self-healing. So if we can stop whatever energy is causing a problem, if that is the case, it's not always the case. If you live beside a tar pit, you might have physical issues due to your environment, but quite often cancer and all these serious chronic things have a root in their emotional issues, right? So
indeed.
This is not, of course, any kind of medical advice. We are not doctors. We just just
I don't know. No, just anecdotal discussion here. So that idea too. I know over the years of different approaches to trying to fix whatever's wrong, maybe it emotional, physical, etc., definitely have gone down many, many different paths with these types of ideas. And I know as you hit like a plateau, I guess, of feeling like, okay, I'm good, I'm ready, I'm going to go now and do life. And you kind of leave certain practices behind and start forgetting the actual techniques on some of them because you just got so out of sync with things, and now suddenly things are starting to spin out again. is that still, you think, or I know, I guess it's probably more on a case-to-case basis, but would that still be things that just haven't been cleared out from childhood always, or can it be a trauma that happened like 3 days ago now that's got you just, you know what I'm saying? How inset does it have to be to become something that is a script, if you will?
The book says anything that happens against your will is an upset. And yeah, it could be last Tuesday, it could be, 2 years ago, 2 days ago. Yeah, I would say 100%. So, and how long is it going to take to create a script? I guess it's going to be how impactful it was to you. One of the things about your worst moment is, they say, remember ever hearing when somebody says everything just froze during an upset? Well, that's like the worst moment in that upset for that person. And that's when it all kind of kicks off right there. And that's at that point right there is when they make the decision that is bad for them. And they make a decision that typically is counterproductive, because you're in a low state of mind. You make bad decisions when you're in a low state of mind. So you point the finger at yourself, unknowingly becoming your own enemy, and blame yourself for whatever this trauma is. Your dad's screaming at you, and you don't realize that he just had a bad day at the office and coming home mad. You think it's because you're a piece of shit 10-year-old that doesn't deserve his love, or whatever the case may be, right? So it's and it could be 2 weeks ago at the office when somebody, gives you shit, because you didn't send that email properly or whatever the case, right? I mean, anything that upsets you. Typically when we're more in our adult thinking, because when you're a child, of course, we know that you don't really process data. You don't really start thinking when you're in those lower brain level activities, right? The alpha and stuff like that, until you're kind of getting 8-10 years old before you really start into that beta where you start discovering Santa Claus is not real. You start to, all that kind of stuff, right? Start piecing it all together. You start thinking, that's kind of, a lot of our programming gets done before that, but not all of it. I remember one of the stories, because one of my cousins was in a bad car accident when they were teenagers, all drunked up, and they crashed, and people were turned to where they didn't go home anymore, and and they were probably late teens, and so that's very impactful, and that's going to mark your life. That's going to big change, right? If you're a parent losing a child, that's going to be a point guarantee that's going to affect you big time, right? So they don't have to be when you're, young and in your impressionable mind stage.
It's, I'm grappling with some things because of my exposure to a certain practice at a relatively younger age, probably around 17 or 18, that seemed to hold a lot of these same ideas of like certain things happening to you, causing severe emotional upheaval, trauma, that then that moment creates this thing, this area, this moment, there's a word they use for it and I cannot remember it. It'll come to me, I know. And when that gets locked into you, then that moment, not only can you just relive it, because you get to a very similar state of things around you being very similar to when that happened, but it can be as simple as for instance, my dad and I both have the same name. I'm a third. So me hearing people talk to Walter Jr. or even my grandfather, Walter Sr., in a negative way, but I overheard it. And that's my name. And so now I've got that in me because it's my name and I heard that negative thing and my name is now, and that whole thing. And so again, these are very similar origin stories of these traumas, I guess.
Mhm.
But a lot of the surrounding stuff that came with that. I mean, it was a very convincing technology, if you will, that this was exposed to. And after years of, after I went to a certain place and experienced certain things, and I'm trying to really go around this topic. I'm dancing, I know, and I don't want to get to all that yet. I didn't want to get to it this early, but I just can't help because the similarities to this idea of the creation of these moments that have marked you and become a script that just comes up, even when you're not aware of it. But there are lots of differences, and that's what I'd rather get to, are the differences than the similarities. I'm talking about Dianetics. I guess you guys probably know that if you have heard my story. And it's very similar. Their ideas of this creation of these engrams. Finally, the word came to me. Yeah. And so I went through some sessions, and they were definitely almost a guided imagery, relive it in the moment, guided hypnosis. There was lots of facets to it. But the main thing was to clear it. That's why I was saying earlier, please don't say go clear. Please don't say go clear. Because again, there's so many things that have been heaped upon that whole idea with all the mental shit that got tied into it. But the actual tech, the practice, the ideology of what it represented hit home with me in such a way that this also is doing that very thing. Because again, that whole thing of the name and the three different people that name refers to, and the older generation definitely having a lot of negativity heaped upon that name and then reflected into my psyche and my written programming. It just is definitely I definitely would be interested in this with you, with finding out more about this. I definitely need to get the book. I want to read the book. I did a little research yesterday, I believe, or maybe Wednesday. I didn't want to do too much. I'd rather have heard all this from you because, I'd rather, again, get the horse's mouth rather than just taking it from somebody else, I guess. I feel like I've known you a minute, even if it's only been in chat, even if you've only been on the show one time, I feel like I've known you for a while now. So just hearing your take on it. And the idea of the sessions being something that are like, let's do this and be done and move on from it, it's, again, totally different. These other people, you get locked into a lifetime of this crowd. Just so they can suck you dry from your money and your life savings. That's a whole different side of it that, again, got heaped on to it. Anyway, I kind of got spun out and rambled on there, I know. But how many sessions did it take for you to feel like you had accomplished the goal you thought you needed to get to with this when you started out? Like how?
I knew at the end of the first session that I was not going back.
Right.
And I wasn't perfect after even my second session. And one of the things we say on the inside would be, your next one's always your big one. Like I kind of make this analogy. Say you have 100 different types of upsets over your life. Some of them are going to be nasty ones, 90s, 95s, 100s, Some of them are going to be really, really mild, like a 10s and 15s. Well, that first session is going to take that big ass chunk off the top and make them go away. But you still have all kind of littler ones below it. And, it's like it's in, a lot of energy work, they would say in my study of energy work, it's like this, you can't release everything in one day. like peeling an onion. You know, you do a bunch of energy work today, and then you got to take a few days to process it all and kind of get back in your skin, and then you can work at digging some more off. And I would say that this is very much like that as well. You know, so you take the big chunk off the top on session 1. Your second session is going to be a big cleanup of a lot of the extra stuff underneath that. And then you just have a bunch of smaller things, or, you know, stuff that maybe happened since you're, you know, since you started this, you know, stuff that you never even gave thought to, because, like you say, a lot of things in your life happen to help you learn a lesson. Well, once you learn that lesson, now you're going to have different stuff come up in your life to help you learn a new lesson. You know, for just lack of better words, right? So now that we took that big chunk off the top, you have those next group at the continuation, and they're going to be what's going to start coming up in your life, and they're going to be what's going to start triggering you. So you may, you know, I mean, not to say that it's a lifetime thing, work, because the chunks go fast and are big. So, and it's going to be a lot dependent on how you process it too. You know, how genuine you are to the process. I mean, this one young fellow that I'm working with, he's reading the book and he wants to almost run the show. So he's not listening, he's not doing what he's told, and everything's going much harder for him, you know? So you got to kind of relax and let the process run, and it works much better. But I mean, you're never probably ever going to put yourself in a position in life where you're not upset by something, you know? But a couple sessions, and that big chunk off the top is gone. You know, the stuff that, you know, when I was going through my training, we would, you know, initially, I mean, literally look at anything that bugs you. And then, you know, whatever bugs you, whatever you get a problem with anything, there's a negative feeling that comes with it. You'll feel that feeling, experience that feeling, you're going to get that image, boom, you run it. And eventually, I mean, I almost never get pissed off anymore. You know, I almost, you know, stuff that used to make me mad in 2 seconds is really the chunk that went away fast, you know, and now it's stuff that just kind of, you know, after that, it's the stuff that, you know, takes a while to get under your skin before it gets under your skin, but you still can get under your skin because you never addressed it.
And the idea of the emotional side of us being almost a parasitic thing sometimes in the desire to actually feel some of those like negative things, those emotions. Like, I think like there's this, I know back from when I studied biology, there are these chemicals that get released, and you definitely will become addicted, dependent on them, and then seek out situations that will cause those, you know, not just attract these to you, but instigate these things in your life that will then cause these emotions to bubble up, get you that emotional fix you need, though it may be a negative thing, you know?
I think that's where, in my little thing earlier when I was talking about slamming doors, now you come home, you're not angry, but you're still slamming doors. And I think it's that dopamine hit that you've gotten so used to, or whatever it is, you know, you kind of got to relive that, because that's physical as much as anything else, you know? So I think that's how I would bridge that gap.
And do you think there's people out there that can't do this?
I'm sorry?
Do you think there's people out there that, like, can't do this, what you're doing?
Can't do it or can't benefit from it?
No, can't do it.
I think anybody could do it. It's, because we as practitioners are just kind of driving the car. You are doing the work. So, it's important for me to bring a lot of intention so I can focus you on the task at hand. But really, I'm not doing anything. I'm reading a script. I'm asking you questions that anybody could really read the script. So I think, yes, anybody would want to take the training. I think, the prerequisite would be wanting to help. And I think, and having a bit of brains that you can put it together and understand, because there's, the books like that, but the study is pretty thick. It was 6 months and we were, we got into a lot of stuff, but you're still going to learn forever about everything. It's like everything else. So I think, yes, anybody could do it.
Is this something you think you're going to be doing for a long time? Do you ever see yourself stopping?
I don't see a reason to stop unless people, the ideal world for me would, of course, be for enough people to get help and learn how to help. And we heal the world, and then, of course, I could stop. But I don't see, I think this is a personally very rewarding. I've always been the kind of guy who have been in service. I've been in service most of my life in some manner, right? In my IT career, I'd go to your desk and solve your problems. And the biggest reward I ever got was somebody's gratitude and big old smile at the end of the day, knowing their problem's gone away. And for me, this is an opportunity to expand my pool of helpies, worldwide, because all you need is an internet connection and I can help you. I didn't have to go, I can fix your computer over the line, but I can't, in my world, I don't do computers anymore. I do renovations and stuff. So I swing a hammer and a saw, but so my field of clients is pretty limited to within an hour of my house, kind of thing, right? Where this, I can help you guys, and you guys are hours and hours away, halfway across the USA, right? I have clients in Greece. I had clients in Mexico, and USA and in Canada. So, it's. I don't see a need to stop until we heal the world.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I think there's so many people out there that have these types of, things going on, and they have no idea, that it's even possible to change that.
Well, you live this, and it becomes you. You become that guy who is angry every day because you got cut off on your drive home. That's just it's, I don't know if you ever heard of Joe Dispenza, but he talks a lot about, how, you create, a habit forms this form, there's a chain of events that, every step is a bit more heavy duty, and eventually it becomes part of your life.
Joe is one of the few people, I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
No, that's it.
I was going to say, Joe's one of the few people from the Bleep movie that I still even entertain listening to anything he has to say. Yep, love him. I just watched a video yesterday.
I entertain everything Marley Matlin has to say for what it's worth.
For what it's worth. Great song.
Well, I've definitely seen a few different, takes on this there in the chat. I know there are some that are like down, and there are some who seem to be a little, not quite there yet. And I get it. Everybody's in a different place in their emotional path, in their spiritual path, in their whatever you want to call it, growth, evolution, ascension, whatever. I'm always willing to try anything once, twice if I like it. So, we'll definitely talk about that. And this was also, I didn't know if this was something like, because I didn't read too much. I didn't want to be too overexposed to it. Especially, I just knew you were coming. I wanted to hear it all from you. I didn't know if it was something that would be doable, on the show, or if it would be something more. Because, like, you can demonstrate Reiki right here. We can do it. It'd be one thing. That's more a physical thing. But when you start dealing with emotions and what it can bring up, and that's a whole different ride there.
We can certainly kind of semi-demo it, I would ask you to think about an upset. I would ask you to experience the unwanted feelings that come with that upset. And I would ask you to tell me if you have an image. And if you don't have an image, I would ask you to describe some of the traits of that emotional, that state that you're in, just to kind of get you into it deeper. And then it will create an image. And once you have the image, I don't even want to know what the image is. It doesn't matter. I just want to know that you see it. I'm going to compare you in size to it in size, and then you're going to step back and you're just going to watch it get big. When it gets big, and you're going to tell me to stop getting bigger, and I'm going to tell you to watch it, and you're just going to sit there and watch it like you're watching a picture on the wall. The secret is you can't fight it. You can't try to make it bigger. You can't try to make it smaller. You can't try to do anything to it, because that is what created it. And the more energy you put into it, the more it gets stronger. So you really just got to sit there and just stare at it like you're looking at a TV screen. No emotional, no intent. You're just staring at it. And then it will get larger, and then it will pop and get smaller and go away, and job done.
So, I would be willing, except that I'm really concerned that I'm so overwrought with my MG, my myasthenia gravis right now, that my physical, and I can't really, I guess in the bigger scheme of things, emotions do affect everything. I get that, but I know that I've really done a lot on this research on this, and it's truly, strictly autoimmune, nerves. I guess I don't know. I'm so focused on what's going on with my physical body right now that I'm kind of I'm all over the place, emotionally, physically. On top of this hit me at the end of, like, after Blacktoberfest is when this got on me so bad that I finally went to a doctor with it. And then, the cat drama that I just went through with the gray cat, which finally resolved itself last night, knowing he's safe and he's healthy and he's on his road to recovery. So that's one that I can let go and dispense with, even though everything in me wants him back here now and want to have him, as part of my life. I knew that would be how it would be. So anyway, I don't know, Ian. I just feel like I'm a fucking nut job right now, and you may not. I don't know if I don't want to make it look bad when I turn out to be too nutty for you to even assist in any fucking way.
And I would say the same thing. It's kind of not fair for you guys to try to do a little demo like that, because it's your brain is going to automatically go to the worst, and that's probably something we should be dealing with.
That needs to be dealt up to, right? Built up, not built, built up to get to that major one. That's kind of what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just something better to be behind doors.
And that's another thing. I don't want. It's not that I'm trying to hide anything from anybody. You guys know how open I am on the show with y'all and my emotions, and I mean, you know, I've broken down and get, you know, it's not anything like that. It's I don't want to make people have a negative view of this thing that could help them by my reaction to something that it could bring up, and me not know how to deal with yet, and us need to be doing some more deep things that would take longer than an hour or two or whatever we got left.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. I don't know what to do on this. I'd love to help you show something, but I don't know that I'm the actual candidate you want to go with right now. I'm a fucking mess.
No, I don't even mean you. I don't even mean you. I think what I mean is anybody shouldn't be on display the first, you know, session. You know, that's what I mean, because no matter who you are, it's going to bring the worst of you up. That first run is intended to go after what's the most upsetting in your life. You know, and when I ask you for an upset, you're going to automatically go to the worst upset. So it's kind of, I mean, it's not fair for anybody to do it live first time, right? You know, I could say to you, okay, think about, you know, is there anything that kind of half-assed upset you today? Did you bang your foot and get mad about it or something like that, right? And we could kind of work on that, but it would be very less impressive to you or probably anybody else, because, you know, it's not going after the big ones, which is kind of what you want to do sitting in the co-pilot seat. You know what I mean? Your higher sense, your higher thing is going to want to have the best wash job, and we're just, you know, wiping the windows.
Yeah, that's something you want to do a little more privately, I bet.
Yeah. You know, maybe it would be potentially easier to demo it with somebody who had gone through a session, you know. And but I mean, really, it's going to be basically, you're going to close your eyes, you're going to say, okay, I see an image. I'm going to say, you experience a feeling. You're going to say, okay. I'm going to ask you, do you see an image? You're going to say yes. I'm going to ask you, how big does it seem? You're going to tell me how big it seems. Big as a house, big as a house, big as a tree, big as a whatever it is. And I'm going to say, okay, sit back and watch it. It's going to get bigger, like as big as it wants to get. And tell me when it stops growing. And, you know, and then I'm going to ask you if it's growing. You're going to probably say yes. And it's going to grow. And at some point, you're going to say, okay, it stopped growing. And I'm going to say, how big do you think it is now? And you're going to tell me how big it is. Oh, it's as big as a mountain, or whatever. How small does it make you feel? Oh, as small as a grain of sand or a dot, you know, whatever. And then I'm going to say, okay, well, keep your eye on it. Just look at it, focus on it. It may get bigger still, but it's going to eventually get smaller and fade away. And you're going to be okay. It's starting to fade. It's starting to get smaller. And I'm going to say, okay, tell me when it stops, if it gets stuck, or if it fades away. Because if you start fighting it, it'll get stuck. You know, and then I'll say, okay, take all your attention off that image and move it over to you. And then I'm going to have you focus all your attention on you for a moment. And then I'll say, okay, take your focus off you and put it back on that image. And then just like that, probably it's going to start shrinking again. And it will just go until it's gone. And that's it. You know, once we go through it a few times and you get in the rhythm of it, they can rip right off. They can just rip right off. You know, it gets very easy. I mean, okay, think of that experience. Okay, I'm thinking about it. Feel the feeling. Okay, I'm feeling it. See an image, zoom. 2 minutes gone, 2 minutes gone. You know, it's a lot of what I do is educate you to the methodology and the process. You know, and then I just walk you through it.
That's awesome, man. It sounds like it's really rewarding.
Well, it really changed me, you know, and I suppose, like most people, I had lots of stuff that would make me angry, and I found that literally before my session was over, I mean, I just felt different. I mean, when it goes away, it feels like, you know, my sister did a session with me, and she's like, you know, it just feels like people are taking sandbags off. You know, you start feeling lighter, you start feeling more energy gets back, you know, because all the energy, I'm sorry?
Easier to breathe.
Mm-hmm. All the energy that you used to put into this resistance is now freed up, and you get to use it for jumping and skipping, you know?
Awesome.
In the case of all of us older folks who have, you know, a little bit of aches and pains, that energy can go to physically healing the body instead of, you know, holding back the energy that's causing the problem.
So I saw Holistic Media in chat asking, do you have a website, or what's a great way for some of these folks to get a hold of you?
Well, my website is astounding.ca. And of course, get a hold of me at ian@ascendingsouls.ca. You can find that. I mean, I see Flat Earth Head just put the link to the Causism Institute on the chat. That on my profile, you'll see the website there if you missed it. I could probably type it in here as well because I can do that.
I'm trying to go find it. I mean, I have it saved. I'm just not hitting the right stuff. There it came up. It came up finally. I forgot my C, typing too fast. There it is. I dropped them both in chat, and I'll add them to the show description here in a minute. I'll have to change my profile over real quick.
Sorry to all you folks in chat. I have been looking at it. None. Appreciate you all being here. If you're here for me, woo-hoo, thank you very much. I know you're here for these guys because we all come for these guys.
We're just here hanging out with you guys.
You just had nothing better to do on a Friday night. It says more about you than it does me.
Yeah, well, married life. Feeling better is life with cats.
Yeah, they do make it fun. I actually I've been going over, neighbor got some kittens. He had them both fixed, male and a female. The female needed 10 days of antibiotics every 12 hours. So for the last 10 days, I've been going over there, taking care of her and giving her medicine. She's older, she's got one eye, can barely even see the cats, let alone find their mouth. So, yeah, I don't mind. You know, it's 10 minutes. Well, 20 minutes. I play with them for a while, too. But I miss them. Didn't go see them. This is the first day I didn't go see them. And it's like, I kind of miss the cats. I wanted to go. Yeah. I love animals. I do.
I do, too, but fuck, I hate kittens.
Anything soft and fuzzy is kind of fun to play with.
Yeah.
We saw on Telegram or wherever it was, you know, these little guys. They looked like I don't even know what they're called, like a Marmaduke or something like that. They're tiny, like size of big squirrel, great big monster ears. They were just so cute. I mean, holy mackerel, from Africa or someplace, just, you know, half rabbit, half mouse, half kitty cat. I was just, you know, so cute.
Yeah, they got lots of funky animals out there, that's for sure.
I don't know what else I could tell you. I mean, that's really kind of most of the Mace stuff, for the most part.
Is the community getting bigger since you started?
Yeah. You know what? Jerry Marzinski, his like the best marketing thing that ever happened there, because he's on a lot of different shows talking about this, talking about his thing. And he always mentions that this is the only real thing he saw that helped anybody. Because all these psychiatric drugs are all just nonsense, and they're more of a poison. There are a few times when they are necessary. There are a few times when they are helpful. But really, they don't do anything but dope you up and kill your brain. And they don't, it's like almost all medicine, they go after the symptoms, they don't go after the cause. Where this is something that goes
Money
after the
in.
cause.
There's no money in actually healing people.
Amen, brother.
Can't go doing stuff like that now. Crazy talk.
Ain't no money in killing them off either.
No, you just keep them sick. And then you give them a pill, and then you give them a pill to fight off the symptoms of that pill, and then you give them another pill to fight off some of the symptoms of that pill, and then 2 pills to fight off the symptoms from this last pill. But it helps fight this one, so it's all right. It'll be okay.
And we'll teach all the doctors to make sure that they prescribe the pills in the right order.
That's not necessarily needed. This way you can get 4 or 5 different groups of doctors involved, all going over the exact prescriptions and which is the best order in which to take them. Everybody makes.
Yeah. Well, I just meant that the whole germ theory is kind of bogus, and they all come at it in their own direction, like you say. They all, sit there and argue what's the best treatment. Well, they're all treating the symptoms. Nobody's looking going after the cause. So it's the medical industry.
Yeah, I'm fighting that now. Wanting to prescribe me statins.
Yeah, that's just, I'm going to recommend no. I'm going to recommend no. I'm going to recommend getting your ass over to Amanda's Telegram group and joining Yummy Doctor, and you can find all kind of ways to make your problems go away without adding new ones.
That's on my list of shit that needs to be done, and it's been sitting on that list for years, and that is to connect with Amanda.
Well, we need to be the champion of our own cause, because these guys are using us for a paycheck. They get trained by the pharmaceutical companies who make their money off of treating you. We know all these things. We can find the answers. We just have to do the work, and it's not that much work. There's like everything. There's a learning curve. But you go and join the Telegram group, and in some of those communities, there's all kind of people that are happy to help. If you are willing to learn for yourself, because nobody can just hand you all the answers. Nobody wants to just hand you all the answers. They got busy taking care of their own shit, right? But if you're genuinely trying to help yourself, people who are genuinely trying to help themselves will be more than helpful to help you. So if you put the effort in and have questions, you can ask them, and you'll get all kind of good answers, and you'll get pointed in directions that that you can go and investigate and do your research, and you can find, and we have amazing tools. We know that most of our problems are caused by the food we eat. We look at populations from all over that had ancestral diets, and they never had any issues with anything, regardless of almost what their diet was. Some of these guys, all they eat was chicken and sweet potatoes, and they never had a problem. They had perfect teeth, they had perfect bodies. They died in their old age in their sleep, or falling off a cliff or something, right? They never had any kind of issues. until they develop our diet, right? And then they have all the same problems we have. And I mean, so the number one thing is we got to go back and start eating as best we can. We got to stop eating processed food. You know, they dump glyphosate on just about everything, so it's horribly important to stay away from that because, you know, it's a leading cause of so many things. You know, of course, there's no real good studies, but, you know, you go look at these communities in Mexico that are right beside these great big farming industrial areas that they just dump glyphosate on for 20 years. And you see a rise in all these diseases that, you know, leaky gut and heart disease and just so many other things. The rise goes straight up as with the use of the glyphosate does. You know, so I mean, there's correlations, not causation, of course, but I mean, there's a certain amount of, yeah, you got to just say that's the problem. And I mean, we have it everywhere. They spray everything with it just to finish the product. Potatoes, fuck. You got to take a field of potatoes or a field of wheat. You know, back in the day when you're hand harvesting, you would go and harvest it wherever it was done. Well, now they want to bring these tractors in and do 1,000 acres a day. It has to be ready all the same day, so they'll go 2 days ahead and just spray the whole field with glyphosate, kill the plants. The plant's like, holy crap, I got 2 days of life left. I got to put every little bit of energy I can in my seed because that's my only chance of survival. And so when you do the study, you'll see that seeds are 2% bigger, so you're making more food, but it's also laced with all this glyphosate, and now you eat that like glyphosate, and you got leaky gut and everything else, right? So, and then they can come in 2 days later and they can harvest the whole 1,000 acres because it's all dead, all dry, all ready to pick by the harvester. You know, potatoes, the same thing. They'll go in and spray a potato field to destroy all the tops, just to destroy the tops so they can go in and pick the potatoes and have less problems picking potatoes. You know, because the greenery is all gone from the top, you know, all shriveled up and laying on the ground because of this poison they sprayed on it. You know, and I mean, my gosh, right? And we have many stories from veterinarians who were working with cattle and sheep and stuff, and these animals couldn't conceive, or if they did conceive, they had half of them were stillborn and all this stuff, and they take them off the GMO corn and put them back on regular corn, and the problems all go away. You know? And of course, no studies, but I mean, we see these, and so I mean, we gotta stay away from stuff that, you know, basically is not organic, you know, because or non-GMO. I mean, there's, you know, so I always tell people, in my opinion, when you get to a point where you have to make a decision, you make the best possible one you can. You want to eat McDonald's, or you want to go buy a steak and take it home? Well, there's no real decision there. But I mean, you know, I mean, you can't always eat perfect, so you just got to make the best decision each time. You know, you can't always buy organic food at the store, so you got to pick whatever the best you can, right? So try to find a farmer local and who, you know, and that's why I know a guy, a young fella down the road here, has his farm, right? So I go and help him. I dig potatoes, I dig carrots and stuff like that because I want him to succeed, so he'll continue to feed me. You know, and he, you know, truckloads of carrots we harvest and potatoes and stuff, and he doesn't spray, you know, and he's actually going for his organic certification so he can sell to the supermarkets.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you know, and so I mean, and I deal with a lady who raises cows. You know, she was a world-renowned sheep farmer up until her husband died a few years ago. And now she kind of just does a few. She had half a dozen cows, mostly because cows are social creatures, so you can't just raise a cow for yourself. You got to put it in a pen with half a dozen cows. So you'll sell off 4 cows or 5 cows or 4.5 cows or whatever. So I'll, you know, buy a half a cow from her, and you know, so I know I'm getting, you know, hopefully as best I can, as much as I possibly can, right? You know. Do good with your water, get the fluoride out of your water, get the crap out of your water with a distiller or reverse osmosis, you know, and you know, as much as you consume water, which you should drink a lot of water a day, try to do the best and keep away from the crap that they serve you, right? Fluoride is just destroying our pineal glands and do all kind of other stuff to us. That's not good. You know, in Russia, they always said that they gave fluoride to the prisoners to keep them docile. You know, that alone should say, hey, I don't think I want that in me. I want to be not docile. I want to be energized. You know? So, you know, we see they spray the fucking air. You know, they poison us every chance they get. So we have to educate ourselves how to navigate this as best as we can with the options and opportunities around us. In my opinion. But an old geezer has been at this for a while, so what do I know?
Everything's so damn expensive.
And that's why
Especially if it's good for you.
You know? I'll be honest, you spend fucking days out and crawling on the ground digging potatoes. Guy gives me potatoes. You know? Really hack that friggin' bill down, right? So I mean, you know, I don't know. Plant a garden, at least do whatever you can, right?
I got a little Irish in me. I think I'm genetically adverse to potatoes.
Well, there's lots of other stuff. You can grow carrots. Oh, I don't know. Even just put, anything. You know, once you start, we grew up growing a big garden when I was a kid because my dad thought it was good, I guess. You know, at the end of the day, it really taught us how to work, taught us how to, you know. And when you eat a carrot out of the garden and then you eat the carrot from the store, you're like, why would I ever want to buy one from the store? Just crap, there's no flavor. It just, you know, just so much nicer coming out of your own garden. You know, so I think motivations like that help, you know, because I have good memories of my childhood, good food. And, you know, you go to McDonald's, I haven't been to McDonald's in 20 years, but, you know, you go to fast food or something like that, and it's just like cardboard in your mouth. I'm just like, you know, I want to do better for me, you know, and I think, you know, honestly, we quite often like to punish ourselves, and we, you know, for millions of different reasons. You know, cigarettes and alcohol are really good examples of how we can punish ourselves pretty good, right? I mean, everybody kind of knows that stuff's bad for you, but sales are high.
Yeah, they are.
You know? But yeah, so I don't know. Food is important. Quality. I say it like this. You know, if you're building a race car and you want to enter the Formula One races, and you build $1 million race car, you're going to put shit gas into it?
Not likely.
Not to win a race. You know, not to say I want to win a race, but you know, if I have an opportunity to buy good gas or shit gas, I'm going to buy the best I can put my hands on. You know, if I can't afford the best, then I'll get what I can afford. You know, if I go crawl in the dirt to cut that down so I can afford more good quality food, then, you know, I never had a problem digging in the dirt. I mean, you know, kind of grounding is one of the best things we can do, you know, a day anyway for us. So, you know, digging in the soil is beneficial on many levels.
Yeah, and if you've never actually felt what that kind of gas can do, it's amazing. Like, we used to go, there was a place right in town where I grew up in Hobart, right down the road, and it would sell 110 octane. And my stepdad, he had a 75 Chevelle Malibu, and with a bored out engine. The thing was just, it was all high performance, everything. It was awesome. But he would have to tune it down to run it on regular gasoline. The regular gasoline would even keep the thing going. It was crazy.
Chocolate
Every
cake.
once in a while, a couple times a year, we'd tune it up and get some of that 110 octane and go out to the country, and he'd put $10 bill on the dash. You know, tape it up there and be like, if you can grab it while we're going, you can have it. Man, that car would pin my shoulders back. It had the 4-point harness thing, straps and everything. Oh, it was so cool. Bucket seats. I love that car. But yeah, you're right. When you put that good food into us, you get a lot better performance out of your body.
Well, we see, I mean, they even have reports coming out now telling about the adverse effect fluoride has on children in school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lowering the IQ and stuff like that. So, I mean, we know that heavy metals in your diet will keep you depressed and all kind of nasty stuff, right? So, I mean, what's best for you is to clean your system as much as possible, right? Detox, right? MMS, there's a few different ways to detox the body.
What is your go-to?
Pardon me?
Your go-to for detoxing?
Well, coffee enemas. I mean, that's a liver flush. I mean, you know, every 3 minutes, your blood circulates through your colon and your liver. So you fill it up with coffee, and it does all kind of amazing stuff. I can't tell you the scientific goodness behind it, but, you know, I mean, the Causism method is the famous one, and they've been curing people of all, making symptoms go away for, you know, however many years that guy was on the go, right? You know, they've been making the big C go away for left, right, and center using that method. Green coffee enemas. Yep.
Was that Gershon?
Yep, absolutely it is. Yeah, and I use MMS, which is going to bond to, you know, heavy metals and help chelate them out. You can use a good food grade diastomate earth. I mean, there is, we talk about it sometimes. I always use this analogy. There are 15 ways to build a house. If you are using 2 or 3 ways to build houses, do you really put a lot of effort into studying the other ways? You know what I mean? So there's dozens and dozens of ways to detox. You know, so I can't really give you a comprehensive list because I never really looked. I have a few that I do, and that's probably pretty adequate for little old me.
Is there any people in the community mixing the Rife machine in with their work?
I'm gonna. I have this Terrawan thing that Amanda got me onto. We use it to structure water. We use it to do all kind of stuff like that. It's going to work in the energy field, the frequency fields like that. There is another place. Let me see if I can bring. I remember that. But it's mostly Canadian. There was a German guy company, and this lady in Canada found him, studied it all, brought it into Canada, got it Health Canada approved, and now they're opening all these clinics around, and it's mostly energy therapy. And they have a couple ways. They have like a thick mat. You know, if you go to the dentist and get the X-ray, they put that, you know, that lead blanket, that kind of a thing. Or there's a few different ones where you can lay on a bed and they'll zap you from below, or put this thing on, or like a strap on you and zap you from above. Or there's a nice one. They have one as a full heat table, and you lay on it, and it lowers down, and it's like being on the beach. It's so nice. I just love it. And but it's all UV lights and stuff like that, and it's all going to be that similar type energy healing. And it's amazing. So I'll tell you a little story there. I was always a snot-faced little kid. My mom will tell you, always runny nose, right? So a couple of years ago, a year and a half or whatever, I went and really did a serious kind of a detox. And I started with a big whole diet overhaul. And I went down to basically drinking water and eating apples for a few days. And it was, what you do is you kind of go down to a really base diet, and then you start reintroducing food slowly. And well, what happened was my runny nose went away. And it looked a whole lot like I was allergic to gluten and to dairy. Because when I would eat dairy or gluten, it would return, and when I would not eat gluten and dairy, it would go away. So I took on the lifestyle of a person with gluten allergies and dairy allergies. My wife and I basically changed everything in the kitchen to support this. You ever have gluten-free pasta? It's the suckiest thing ever. So anyway, life's good. Well, I found this clinic. My friend told me about this clinic. Actually, my buddy Kyle, my farmer buddy, his mom told me about this clinic. So I go to this clinic, and they have a guy there who uses electrical impulses through the body, a couple spots in the hand, a couple spots in the feet, and he scanned my internal organs and told me, what was good, bad, or ugly. And he admitted that he'd never seen a cleaner liver than mine. I'm like, thank you, Mr. Gerson. And I told him, I said, you might find that I have allergies to gluten and to the dairy. And so he scanned me, he goes, you don't have any allergies. He goes, what you have is a messed up pancreas. And that's what's causing you to have this inflammatory issue. So they gave me one 20-minute treatment, sent me home to drink lemon water with a little bit of, what do you call it, baking soda in it. He goes, in a couple weeks, you're fine. And there you go. I went back to my previously glorious diet of pizza and nacho chips, and life has been good. So I'll do a quick dig and find that company. So they're one of their offices. They have a shitload in Canada, but they didn't have very many outside of Canada. In the US, there was very few. That's why I didn't really bother talking to you guys or anybody really about it, because most of you guys are all Americans, so it was no real use to you. Remember where I saw it. But that was all much like Rife Technology or stuff like that. One of my other buddies has a Spooky 2 device, although he said he hasn't really played with it for a while, and he's getting very excited to go back and start playing with it again. And I think that
would be Accidental Alchemist in chat, because he's talking about having one. Or
no, he wouldn't be in our chat. He doesn't even know the Earth is flat. I don't even mention that stuff to my buddy Brian. He would.
I got you.
Yeah, he would not.
And I just
no.
Just throwed it out there, and I realized that he and should have said she. My apologies.
I do see Accidental Alchemist was saying she can do distance healing with that Spooky 2 Rife machine.
That's pretty amazing.
But
it's like, it should be. I mean, any energy work is not local, right? Because once you're in the energy field, I mean, it's all connected.
So I was just looking at this. She says that you can use fingernail clippings, just send them to her, and she can heal through space and time with the fingernail clipping. How about a tooth or hair? Could you do the same? And if you're healing through space and time, if I provide you my baby tooth, or I provide you a lock of hair from my first haircut, and you are now healing through space and time, could you heal genetic things that early on? So now you don't have any of the damage that's been done because you're healing it through time. So you're healing 5-year-old Josh's hair. Now Josh isn't going to have any of the long-term genetic damage that would have occurred over the last 40 years, but because you healed it through space and time, now the 40 years of damage heals itself.
Well, I mean, that would be pretty amazing.
That'd be pretty fucking amazing.
I don't know if you ever be able to tell.
Good question.
You know, I mean, it'd be like sitting here saying, okay, oh yeah, by the way, I was just healed of that hernia that I never ever felt in my life. But, you know, 30 seconds ago, it was debilitating, and it was everything.
Right.
You know.
Well, it also seems like you'd be getting into the whole cause and effect, time loopy type thing.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, instead of fixing this Josh that's sitting here talking with us, it would fix a Josh that would then go on to be a whole different Josh, because those dominoes that would have fallen to get you to Iron Realm now won't fall that way, because you got that sexy hair now.
Wake up and see the Elon Musk.
Well, Fabio got mad at him how many years ago and put him down or something, right?
Yeah, you got it.
That was for you, Liz. I couldn't go a whole show without saying Elon Musk.
Well, speaking of Liz did ask a question, which will kind of change lanes a bit. She asks, what does Ian think about the dark night of the soul? Which I think a lot of us feel we're currently going through.
I don't know. I would say a lot of my thinking has changed in the last little short time since I learned about Darius J. Wright. He brought. I studied Law 1 long time ago, like 20 years ago. I was reading that stuff, and it kind of put my mind in a bigger picture than, you know, traditionally we have, you know, with religion and the way it all happens, and, you know, being an eternal spirit as opposed to, you know, just here for a one-off. And when I learned about Darius and heard his story, he was giving some pretty accurate depictions of how this construct is put together. So I see this whole place that we in our natural environment. Us as souls, we this different place, you know, outside of everything we know, and you know, we're kind of godlike. So we are all very loving. We're all very pure, and they created this realm that we call Earth, heaven, and you know, all the layers with all the demons, all that kind of stuff. It's all kind of encapsulated construct. And in there, we come to gain experiences that we can't gain anywhere else, which would kind of explain a lot of the pain and suffering that's going on in this realm, because you're never going to experience it anywhere else. So you got to come here to get it. And these experiences teach us lessons that will grow as a soul. And our soul gets more experience over time, and this is us. His world. When we leave here, we take these experiences with us. And people who are younger souls may have less experiences and may be learning some lower level lessons. School 101. And where some people may be here at a higher level, they're still coming to this construct, this earth that we created, that was created. We didn't create it. There was, the original creators. But we still benefit from coming here because we haven't learned. We come here, we gain experiences that we could never else. That's a big part of the veil. So you come here stupid, you come here unknowing that that you're perfect, basically, right? And he said that over time, this construct really went because of ego and because of all the negativity. It really kind of got out of control. So it was never meant to be what it is. It has kind of evolved into what we see nowadays. But I do believe, this is a belief of mine, that we are eternal spirits, that we are amazingly and completely powerful. We have everything. When we come to this realm that we're sitting here in, we mask that with this human form. And that's what can fail and break and all that kind of stuff. That's what has all these negative identities. That's what has all these learning lessons and stuff like that, and it'll affect it. When we leave here and go back to the outer realm, we bring these lessons with us. So we become better. So what do I think the dark night of the soul is just going to be some really potent lesson.
Do you have a link for Darius's info? Not familiar.
His website is just dariusjwright.com. I just put in the YouTube chat, dariuswright.com. That's his website. He doesn't do a lot of social media, although you'll see quite a few interviews on YouTube between him and other folks. Actually, I met him basically because Dave Weiss had him on one afternoon. Got it for actually a pretty interesting interview because Dave has a kind of different view on the world than a lot of normal interviewers. He was asking questions that a lot of the regular interviewers never think about, right? I mean, they took 5 seconds to come to it's all flat, Darius will agree that we live on a toroidal, that commercial plane in the toroidal field, all that kind of stuff. He's totally on board with that. He knows that Antarctica is a ring at the outside, and that because when he does out of body, that's where he gets his. So what he says about out of body is like a near death experience. When your spirit totally leaves your body, you get to go back to that outside this realm that we all call home, and you die, you don't come back. If you have a near death, back. If you have an out of body, you can. Difference between an out of body experience, near death experience would be, and he uses this analogy. It's like if I took you, put you on an airplane, took you up 20,000 feet, parachute your back, and pushed you out. You didn't have a clue what was going on. That's a near death experience. You're going to scream, you're going to holler, you're going to be totally discombobulated. Your chute's going to open up, you're going to land, everything's safe. Difference being with an out of body experience, you get to training, you know what you're doing, you're going to go up in an air, you're going to jump out and you're going to hit the wind and you're going to pull your chute, you're going to be safe. So that's kind of the difference. So it's kind of the same experience, although you look at it much. But he has people that have done both. They say it's virtually identical. One of his trainees had a near-death experience with a stroke or something. I remember exactly the story. The guy's name was David, and he's got many testimonials. He's got a YouTube, or he's got a Telegram. I believe it's probably Darius J. Wright Telegram, and you can find him, and he posts links to a bunch of the interviews there, testimonials or shitloads of testimonials. Because I haven't really looked into it greatly, but he'll train you how to do a out of body experience. A lot of it's to do hemi-sync with the Monroe Institutes, do all their work, and all that kind of stuff. But basically, you go to sleep, your body does, brain does not. Looking for it. And when your body falls asleep, magnetic field becomes really, really low, and your spirit can detect from it. And typically what happens is once you become kind of shocked by that, your body kind of half wakes up and that magnetic field strengthens and sucks your spirit back in. And that's what happens a lot of times. A lot of people who have an out-of-body experience look at themselves in the head and they're like, oh my God, I'm dead. Here, and they all of a sudden they find themselves back in their body. So a lot of his training is just walking you through how that all works, or reaffirming that you're, not to be scared. And this is, you start hearing noises and see flashes and stuff like that. And then once you get to grasp, you can do anything you want. Go to the halls of Amente. Look up all the Akashic records and all that kind of stuff, right? But I think the Akashic records are part of this construct, where the halls of Amente are outside, and so what he tells us, his description, and many of the other people that talk about it, saying, all the different universes or worlds or constructs are individualized, and there's tons and tons of them, and you can go and join one for a period of time and leave. All of them walk in kind of like he goes, it's like you're walking down, every house is a different construct. You go in and you can say hi and do your thing and leave, right? They're all kind of going to be run by whoever house. This particular one we call Earth is the only one where we go through the veil of forgetting. Get here and we don't remember this, that we're over, spirits from above, and all that stuff. Go through this veil and we get to experience, or the rest of them, they all, it's, you don't lose your memories. You don't have to go through that veil. You can wander around when you're off in your out-of-body experience. I don't know a ton of it. I kind of think that there's like a natural inborn time, like 45 minutes to an hour, and your body starts to naturally come back. I don't really know. I haven't delved into it. At some point, I'll potentially put a lot of effort into it. I think it's because, of course, you can go and do all the stuff that want. You can go and check out Antarctica and look at all the different things that you can see down there, or go walk through the
average person sees hundreds of
pyramids, all that kind of stuff. So he talks about time being here on Earth. We have linear. It's like taking a deck of cards. He said, spread the cards out in a row. Go one after another. That's time. He goes out in that outside of time. You stack the cards all up, and you're looking down through them. So you can look at all the different time points. Everything in the future is a potential. Everything in the past is kind of cast. But you have now, you have the cast in the past, and the future is all potential. Can't predict the future, but you can make some pretty good guesses due to that's very potential, not very not potential. That's my thinking has really changed to I mean, I always kind of knew, quote unquote, God was there. Or you can't do bad stuff. God's watching you. I always kind of felt that, knew it in my heart. And then, of course, when I truly became a flat earther, when I learned about that, it's like, oh, there's guaranteed we live in a created realm, so it's there. Somebody made it. And, you know, when I started listening to Darius and getting his take, I can see how it goes together in a very, I resonate very much with it. Solidifies in my mind that we're not in any danger. This is just basically a play that we come to, and we get to sit and enjoy. So and once again, if I look at my studies of the mace, whatever you push against the hardest pushes back against you the hardest. So if we have a hateful life, we're going to reflect it. It's going to come back hateful. So if you have easygoing life, you're going to have, you know, it. So for me, I trying to adjust my old habits so I don't have as much negativity and all that kind of stuff around me, and I have prosper, having a great life. And I mean, there's no reason why not, and I'm gonna have one.
Beautiful.
And, you know, desperately gonna drag as many of y'all along with me.
Very noble goal.
Well, that's selfish as hell because I love helping people. Like I get my satisfaction from making people happy, making people's problems go away. I used to be an IT guy, right? And I'd go to a girl's desk, and ladies were, you know, getting close to retirement. They've been serving the CEO of the company for 25 years, you know, highly trusted individual in the company and all that kind of stuff. And they would be just about in tears on a Monday morning because they can't do their job. Oh my God, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Well, I run the IT department, you know, me and my team. So I knew that we ran an update over the weekend. Your PC got an update, good old Windows, and it just doesn't work, right? So, and I know a lot of guys who would blame these. Oh, yeah, you fucked this up, right? And let me fix it, right? And I always hated that so bad, right? And you know, I mean, because I'll go and tell them like, hey, you know what, this is us. We ran updates, you know, you don't know anything because it just reboots your PC on Saturday night at midnight. And, you know, let me fix it for you, right? You know, and assure them that it wasn't their fault and get them back to work. They can do what they want to do to get their stress level down. And the fucking smile on their face and the gratitude that pours out of their heart is gold for me. That's where I live. So, you know, if I can do that, and I do that, I've done that all my life. I've done it in all my jobs, you know, in IT. Every day almost I got to do. Now I do it in your home. I get to come to your house and, you know, put your new floor down or whatever, paint your wall or kind of thing like that. So it's a bit different, but you know, I still create solutions for problems that you can't do yourself. You can't paint that wall, I'll paint your wall for you. You know, so for me, I had the luxury of being able to find myself in a position where I've been getting that reward. And I'm smart enough to know that that's what's valuable to me. And that's what really makes me happy. And, you know, so I've been happy to kind of engineer my life as best as I could to have that around me. You know, I got a nice woman, I got a good family, I got, you know, all that stuff that really makes your life happy, right? You know, and that's, and then on top of that, I have the luxury of being able to help others.
Pretty good, brother. That's the best way to live, I think. And I don't know, I mean, I've known a few different people who've had NDE, near-death experiences. And I got to know Daniel Brinkley for a few years. Finding out about the life review and how you feel the emotions that you bring about in other people. I always strive to do my best to make those emotions a positive experience in other people's lives so that, selfishly, when I go back through all that stuff, I'll admit that's a very selfish reason, but it also helps me become a better person. So.
The regrets we have are due to what we didn't do here. I'm gonna regret mostly sitting there knowing that I could have done more to help and I did not.
Yep.
And if I don't know, then it's not even going to be shit, right? I'm just one of those matrix livers. I get to the end and, I did my best because I was flipping burgers all the time. That's no problem, right? I'm not getting any regrets when I finish that life. But because now I know better, I hold myself at a higher level.
Yep, exactly.
It's important to me to do what I can to help, and that necessitates me taking care of myself first. That's the hard one because
that's the toughest one. Yep, that is the toughest one.
Been working diligently as I can, which comes and goes for the last few years to try to cure myself, to heal a lot of my inner traumas, so I can sit here now and honestly say I don't have a lot of shit that bugs me anymore. I used to get like mad at like everybody else, but now that stuff, I blew up fucking my neighbor's snowblower because mine is in the shop getting all over the place now. So it broke in the bearings that were bad, so I had it apart. I'm using my neighbor's, and she's got this little tub of ice jammed in there, the gearbox smashed. And there was a multitude of problems at that machine, and fix one, and you think you're good, and then all of a sudden you find the next one. Fix it, and then there's the next one. Back in the day, I wouldn't get so mad. I just remember throwing shit at the fuck, And now I'm just laughing because it doesn't affect me. I'm amazed almost daily how much different my life is. I know it. No, I know Christmas has always been first time of year for me. Always been at my lowest. It comes. I don't know if it's to do with the lack of light or the package I put Christmas in. With my child and all that stuff. Whatever the case, but like the month of December, it always got worse and worse and worse. I remember some years at the fucking Tomato King where, by middle of December, you just didn't want to come near me. I was a piece of work, right? And I had this conversation just the other day with one of the other practitioners, and this year, it was the lowest point of my year, but it was nothing like I've ever experienced in my past. And all that, the heavy, well, I can't say heavy depression, but as heavy as it got for me, wasn't there. Well, I still kind of went as low as my little arc went, but wasn't. All of it was so much lighter. Depression light. Depression normal. So, and I 100% know it with Mace. Did my session about a year ago. Was probably mid to late January, early February. I can't exactly remember. I have to go look it up. And started my training probably by March either. But I spent about 6 months. I know, for sure. It had made last winter or last autumn so much different than last. Yeah, I remember.
So I mean, is it more of a just seasonal thing, or I mean, as far as the way the season changes, lack of light, different vibration, whatever, or is it surrounding? The holiday crap and the emotions and the family stuff. I mean, you.
Yeah, I think both. I mean, I can't say 100%. I don't know how much the environment affected it, but I know, being, growing up poor, we didn't have a lot. So I don't really think that I lacked as a child in that respect. But I know as I grew up, I despised the commercialism behind Christmas.
The crowd. Yep.
And all that stuff. And it really, really, made me have a really bad taste in my mouth for a very long time.
Right.
Due to that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that's a big chunk of it. And I think probably that's as much as any of it, for sure.
Right.
And I think probably my lessening of that emotional baggage has, made this one better.
Nice.
If that makes sense.
It does, absolutely. I've gone through some changes with the holidays. I mean, I went from growing up in a family, an extended family, where like every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, it was, moms, brothers, which were 4 uncles, and they're pretty sizable families, many cousins. We would have big events. We would all get together. It was a huge emotional thing that then, as we hit the mid to late 80s, people moved off, went to different states, different job requirements, education requirements, graduation, moving on, getting their families going, like life happens, and we all kind of lost that in our lives. And then when I got with Michelle, her family kind of had a very similar thing going on from there growing up. And so it became my de facto kind of replacement for the warm, fuzzy family thing. And it definitely helped with the holidays. And then as you dig deep and start, looking into some of the bases, good Lord, hello, English. Anyway, some of the origins of the holidays and some of the negativity that can be, uncovered behind some of it, I did let myself get kind of swayed into an area where I was just very anti-everything holiday related, which then distanced me from family and friends. And, so it was a whole line to figure out how to walk and how to reclaim those things that I needed for my emotional health, my emotional, security, if you will. And so, yeah, the holidays definitely are a very volatile, emotional landmine for some people. So I'm glad to hear it was a better one for you this year, for damn sure.
Yeah.
Liz just agreed there in chat. She said the dark days in December affected her quite badly. So
I saw some frequently asked questions in my digging around. For some reason, the question that I saw keeps popping into my brain. So I think I'm just going to ask it because I didn't bother to see what the answer was. I'm going to ask you, see what you have to say. How effective? No. You had your first treatment and then your training. How necessary is it to have, now that you've gone through the training, how necessary is it to have someone walk you through that versus being able to do a MEM on yourself?
Well, there's You can't do MEM on yourself.
And that was the question.
One of the things you can't do.
That was going to be the question, essentially, was can you and why not?
Well, it's because you can't see yourself looking from within yourself.
Yeah, well, we're not really showing it.
So you don't see your whole you when you look at you because you're using part of you to see you.
There's no McChicken meal. There's only the hot and spicy.
What?
This is so wacky.
How does that happen?
I don't know. I guess we'll just get it. What size fry did you say?
Large.
What happened? I'm so confused right now.
Jaren's taking orders.
Yeah, so no. I mean,
Gotcha.
it would be fantastic if a person could do that for themselves. But the way they explain it is you got to see yourself to focus yourself. You know, because I act as a focus, a lens. You can't play the part of the lens and the light. You know? So this thing is you can't see all of you when you use part of you to see you.
So that you're never able to see all of you. Then yes. Because you'll always be looking at you. And if that's the case, when you always look at you, you will never ever see you.
So you use a practitioner to guide it on the outside. So all you have to do is, you don't have to do the thinking. They're doing the thinking. All you're doing is the looking. So you can't direct yourself to look and not yourself to do that. So when you're using yourself to do that, you're not all available to be seen by yourself. I don't really know if I can explain it any better or any different. It's like looking at a car from inside the car.
It makes absolutely no sense, but I think I get it.
Yeah, it's like looking at a car from inside the car. You can't really see the car. You got to be outside the car. But if you're outside the car, then you're not going to feel the feelings. Because you got to be inside the car to feel the feelings.
There's a thing that happens sometimes with out of body and astral projection where once you've reintegrated into yourself, the next day it can a lot of times feel like you're basically driving a meat suit around. Like you're so not fully integrated again that you're out of sorts. Like you feel like you're literally driving this meat suit around. You're not part of it anymore. I don't know how to explain it to make sense unless you've ever experienced it.
So Darius would say this. He would say that, okay, so you and I sitting here, our eyeballs pick up like what, 0.1% of the light spectrum?
If that, yep.
Whatever, there's a small percentage, right? Well,
right, that's what I meant. It's very small. I agree totally.
When you're out there, you see 100%. When you have tactile feeling in your flesh, here we experience what we experience, but out there we experience 1,000,000 times more. It's like seeing the whole light spectrum. So now when you come back and all you can see is that little tiny 1%.
Yeah.
It really feels confining. It really feels
confining, constricting. This is not right.
Really, there's a lot of, all you get out of it is the feeling. And I once again, because of my history and my studies, I would pour through textbooks, big fucking thick textbooks when I had to learn all this computer shit, right? And and the first few times you go through that, you're stumbling over the language so much you can't even get to the concepts. So when you go through like an out of body or a near death, everything's so new. Everything is like watching a movie, like a really action-packed movie. Once, you're not going to remember it all. You're going to remember the action scenes. You're going to remember. You watch it 15 times. You watch it 100 times. You're going to start remembering all these little details. You're going to be able to. All these little details is a language you're going to be able to use to conceptualize it and to express it to yourself and to other people. Because you had such a limited experience, you don't really have the language to to conceptualize it, to really even understand it. So that's how he explains it.
And that makes perfect sense, actually.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, just real quick, I want to go, there was something in chat. Let me go find it again to not get too far from it so that by talking about it, we've completely lost the thread. I just want to go back and make sure I read it correctly. From our friend, the accidental alchemist, in relation to your question a bit earlier, Josh. A current, fresh piece of hair or nail would be most effective because it decomposes over time, she wrote. The healing now travels back in time. No need to use the old DNA, she also wrote. So that kind of makes sense in the whole, if you think about the whole thing about time only being here in this realm, that we created it only for cause and effect, good and bad, love and hate, all the different dichotomies that we are here to experience wouldn't be possible without time and causality. So the fact that it's kind of a artificial construct that we're just using here, I don't know. That's one thing I know when I do a lot of, or when I was doing, let's say, a lot of the hemisync energy work and dealing with some of the stuff that would come up from the past. Definitely was. It was, you were, it felt like you were there. There was no doubt. It felt like almost time traveling in the reliving, and it wasn't necessarily it wasn't the guided imagery, hypnosis type, type getting you there. It was a whole different, I don't know. If you haven't gone, it sounds like you may have done some of the gateway process, so you probably have a better way maybe to explain what I'm trying to say, but you definitely find time to be very malleable at least in some points.
I don't have any real experience or practice in any of that. That's.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought I may have misunderstood what you said about the hemisync.
No, I read about it, but I haven't practiced.
You just haven't actually done. Yeah. I got you. Okay, yeah. That's cool.
I've listened to people and understood what they said, but
I misunderstood you. My apologies. No. Yep. Okay. Well, it's definitely, the things you talk about, having to go to these places, well, not necessarily to go to them, but to bring these things up, I think, again, we need to be in the present to experience this reality. But when you do deal with the past, it's definitely a place you can visit. I don't know. I may just be rambling. I'll shut up.
Well, once again, I think it's in all of us, that ability to go and review that and revisit it 100%. I don't think there's anything there that you're talk about that's impossible or, doesn't happen a million times a day, probably even, to different folks, right? Deja vu.
It definitely has. I've read quite a few different people have it. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm having some audio issues, so I keep stepping on you. My apologies.
Oh, it's all good.
I have an assistant, Bender's over here, and he keeps hitting and unhitting my mute button, and then he's turned on the video 3 times, so I apologize. Thank you, buddy.
All good, man. We're just having a chat.
And that chat is being enjoyed, it looks like, from the chat that I'm seeing. You guys are awesome. I saw Carl, FE Nation, my buddy Fletch there, saying that his writers were definitely enjoying the show and the things you've been discussing with us here, Ian. So that's awesome to hear. Thank you so much, Carl, for sharing us with your writers.
Anyway, man, it's all good. I'm happy to be here.
So So, I mean, I'm sure, a question in everybody's mind. I kind of glanced around the site and really didn't see anything about it. And if it's something that is better not discussed on the air, that you'd rather discuss with people as they contact you, I definitely understand that. But is there like what are we looking at for a session cost-wise? Or is that
that's actually totally on the website.
I didn't dig deep yet. I really didn't dig deep. I just went to your page to find your page, because again, I didn't want to overexpose myself to the stuff to have like a preloaded idea of what was going on. So I didn't dig deep. I just went to your page, didn't really see anything about pricing.
No, it's on my page. It's on my site. You go into, it's under,
what did I look at?
It's going to be under services. You click on services, I think.
Well, right. That's what I mean. I just went to your main page on the
on the
Causism site.
Yeah,
Causism
they
not your personal site. So it is a by situation type situation. Depends on the circumstances, the person, what you're looking to do, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
And that's great to hear, because sometimes pricing can scare somebody from getting some help they need. So,
yeah. So the kind of the going rate was $250 US for the session. So I chose 300 Canadian because it rings in about 215 American. So I'm thinking I'm going to undercut all you U.S.
Underget it. There you go. There you go.
So that's why I chose a number. Plus, it looks nice. It's a nice, easy $300 Canadian on my website. I gave you guys a coupon for 15% off for the Iron Realm crowd. Anybody wants to use that, they're totally welcome to use that coupon code. I 100% don't remember off the top of my head what it is. I'll look it up and figured out.
I went with an easy one for the picks. It was Flat Earth. I knew I could remember it.
No, it would have been, yeah. I put it. Pretty cool. I don't even know where to find that crap that's going to be under.
Nothing like digging under the hood of some websites.
Yeah, I'm still clicking around. I did find your redneck coaching, though.
That's a
here we
special
go.
one, yeah.
Book a session. I found it. Look at me. Nice. Sorry, I'm clicking around and got quiet. My apologies, everyone there. I'm not hosting well right now.
Don't look to me to get bothered by a little quiet.
No, I just realized that I was digging around and not.
I wasn't digging around. I was just sitting here, not saying
just
anything.
Chilling. That's fine. I ain't scared to play chicken at all.
I got to try to remember how to navigate this website. I could probably go and find it on Telegram because I know I uploaded it to the Telegram channel back in the day.
Chat. I knew I had seen it somewhere too, but I was looking all through Skype, and then it hit me. We just got you on Skype, so it's not going to be on Skype, is it, Walter? That's why I quit digging. I'm not the one to be looking.
Web page just takes hours, so it's IRM 33.
Nice.
Oh, and that's for 33% off. That's how much I'll do, guys.
I'm going to go put that in our show description if you would not mind.
No, I don't mind. Yeah.
Here, let me mute up. So
Ian'll have me cut this part out later.
Well, right now the coupon doesn't expire, but like I said, it does expire at some point.
Some point
2
in the
years down
past.
the road.
Oh, sorry, that expired into New Year. 1st of January, my bad. But you got 15% off. That's good.
but with time being malleable, we'll just scoot on around that time.
Coupon code IRM15.
Well, the worst part about the whole deal is IRM is the best kept secret on the internet. So even if every single one of the scouts gets the member or gets that discount, they ain't gonna, I'm still getting a Maserati, right?
At least a Maserati keychain.
At least. New tank of gas in my truck.
So how's your wife dealing with all this new change and new situations going on?
She's good, I think. She, I'm certain that she would prefer to see me working more steady right now because I'm in a personal point in my life where I'm kind of not really looking for a lot of renovation work. So I'm not creating a lot of income from that stream at the moment. Although, right now I do snow, so I have a few customers I do snow for, and it's just been so busy. That's going to keep me floating, no problem. I bought this machine to sharpen table saw blades. And out of the blue, I have another website called Super Sharp. And many, many years ago, decades ago, my wife would complain that she can't get her kitchen knives sharpened. So I went and got a bunch of equipment to sharpen knives and then, nice stones and all this stuff. And I upgraded the machines and all this stuff just to keep my wife happy. And so I kind of half hang a shingle out, but not really, right? So I created this website, supersharp.ca. And, sharpen your chainsaw, sharpen your, knives and stuff, scissors and all that kind of stuff. Well, a guy called me one day and asked me if I could do table saw blades. And I looked in the machine that I can use was only a few $100. So I said, yeah, I'm going to buy that. I always kind of wanted to do that myself anyway. And so, I made enough money off that to pay the machine off so far. Guys out of the blue just, seeing my website. So, bring me knives or bring me table saw blades. One guy brought me like 10 saw blades. So, it's like $100, $150 I got out of him, so I make a little bit of money doing that. I do, of course, snow. So I'm busy enough all winter. I am getting hits off my website now. So I'm getting a bunch of people signing up for sessions off the website. I had, lo and behold, one guy found my Substack and read my Mace article on Substack and, contacted me and he's going through a session. So, I'm getting enough to keep me happy, although it would be less stress, I think, on her if I was generating more. But she can see everything going the way it's, meant to go and how it's going to be fantastic and all that stuff. So she's pretty patient about it. I think she's, after 30 years, she's kind of not going to try to fight me because she, I'll just wear her down.
Have you considered giving her a session preemptively?
Yeah, of course.
That way, when she does feel a little resentment, we know how to deal with it right away.
Yeah, no, she, she's up there on the list for sure. There's a bunch of my family and friends in the near area that I've been giving sessions to, just to share the wealth kind of thing, right? And I think a big part of what I wanted was the ability to do that. So being able to not have to go and scrape my truck to go to work is very attractive. Sitting in front of the computer and making money is very attractive. So it is, very nice, easy for me to want to have a life where I can not go swing a hammer and I can make a decent living from right here in my chair. So, and I truly believe Mace is a very good cause and very, worthy of attention. I mean, it's got all good stuff, so, and it works. I mean, it really works. So, I don't have an issue really trying to use that as a source of income, as a stream, because I think people are going to become more and more wanting of it, right? As people, as we become more and more enlightened, people are going to want to have easier, better tools to help with their shadow work and help them improve themselves. And this is a pretty awesome way to do it. And it took a long time to get to US because it was born in Australia, grew up in Australia, and it was all very one-on-one personal. And it stayed like that, really. These guys were doing sessions. They would do a session on the phone, but mostly they got together. And then COVID hit. And it really started making a big impact when it went Zoom, And then, and then of course you get a guy like Jerry talking about it, and lots of people that I speak to, because one of the questions I'm going to ask is, where'd you learn from it? And a lot of people say, oh, I, heard about Jerry, I saw Jerry, tracked it down. I'm like, exactly, that's how I learned about it too, right? And so as people become more and more aware of it, it's just snowballing. So they have a big lack of practitioners, and they're creating more and more practitioners as quickly as they can, as quickly as people want to go through the training. So it's all becoming more and more mainstream. It's going to become, we have one lady that's, I'm going to say like New Mexico or Arizona area, and she's been working with, for her career, she worked with rehabilitating, like, I'm not sure if it was juveniles coming out of like juvie hall or like inmates coming out of prison, where they would get them ready to go back into work. And, her particular program was extremely effective because they really concentrated on trying to find a job that the guy wanted to do. So there was a lot more satisfaction. He'd go there, he'd try, as opposed to just getting somebody a job at McDonald's. Where a lot of places just want numbers, right? So as you're an inmate coming out, you get 1 million resumes out, you get a job at McDonald's, you live there a week, you get fired because you hate it, nobody cares, right? Because you're part of the whole system just keeping it running. Well, she was, and the people that she worked with, they were very intent on making a difference, and they were making a difference and doing very good things. And so she got a reputation for being very good at her job in this area. And I believe it was like corrections or, something like that. And then she learned about Mace, and she became a Mace practitioner, and she started using it. And then, and then she took that information back to basically the bosses. And because she had such an awesome track record, she kind of got her foot in the door. because there's no studies, because it costs $1 zillion to do like professional studies about, how this works and all that kind of stuff, like clinical studies and stuff like that, right? So for, to get it in and have the government pay for, because this is great for PTSD. I mean, it's fantastic for PTSD and all that kind of stuff, right? And, but because she doesn't have any like official like government accreditation, she's still got her foot in the door with these folks because she has such a wonderful track record. So, I mean, once, and they said, okay, well, we'll give you like 5 counties out of the 47 counties in the state. I think it was something crazy like that. And if you do well there, then we'll start expanding it out and out and out. So, a few years from now, it could be as big as a flat Earth, right? So, I see the snowball effect happening. I see things becoming better and better. I see people learning more and more about it, and so I'm excited to be able to surf that wave, and make a little bit of a living at it at the same time, and help a lot of people. And on top of all that, I get my personal satisfaction out of it, which is making people smile. So it's a win-win-win-win way all over the board as far as I can see. So, and probably
it feels to me. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, it just feels to me like you definitely are in a place you need to be. You feel very comfortable. You feel very like on the path you need to be on. And I'm not one to judge anybody else's path or anything else, but you feel the vibe is great, brother. So I'm very happy that you're happy where you are.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate that. Well, I mean, and everybody will test all the chat, it's because we have high quality friends, family around us that we can resonate with, we can bounce off of, we can be at highs with, we can be at a lows with,
Yeah,
and
this family that we've gathered and been lucky enough to hang out at their will, has been a saving grace so many times in the lower parts of the last few years that have happened. So yeah, it's definitely an amazing group we have here. Thank you all.
I never really had a lot of deeply trusted friends, I guess due to my traumatic childhood. And when I learned about flat Earth, it almost was a blessing because now I got an excuse for not having any friends. And then, I start meeting people like you guys and finding this family that I get to join and be at one with. And it is such a relaxing feeling, such a nice place to be. So, I think that contributes, and I think this all comes to me at a time in my life when I'm ready for it, because of all this other stuff has taken me, that has built this wave, and I've been riding it, and this is, I'm pretty stoked. I'm 57, and I truly believe my life is just half over and just ramping up. Which is another reason I want to try to kind of keep a little bit of an eye on my health, because I'm going to be here for another 50 years. I don't want to be shitting myself.
Right. Right.
I look at some of my family, some of my, my brother-in-law in particular, guy's, big guy, got diabetes, fucking open sores on his feet, dude, can't walk, just a mess. Just a mess, and it's 100% because of the diet, and not to say it's because he just drank Kool-Aid all his life, right? Just a regular person, just a regular fucking person, right? So, motivates me to not want to be like that, I want to have my faculties about me. My wife is like, I don't want to live forever. I'm like, okay, well, neither do I. But when I get to the end, when I crawl up to that line, I don't want to be in a wheelchair. No, I don't want to be in a wheelchair. One of my oldest best friend, excuse me, his dad was like 80, 85 or something, and went to church twice a day and got struck by a car walking home one day and dead 2 days later. Perfect life. Wasn't sick ever, Not like these poor people who suffer for 2 years in a coma or, taking chemo and all this stuff and dying, right? And they suffer and everybody suffers. I mean, we all die. I mean, I want to walk up to the end and just fucking, be healthy on the whole way. I don't want to drag my ass up there and fucking suffer for 5 years before I meet my maker.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot of caregiving before you start to think about a way to make sure that doesn't happen to you. Whether it's through a healthy lifestyle or just a thoughtful and comprehensive exit.
Well, I mean, even with that, I mean, I still, because, and then the wife or somebody says, well, what happens if you get Alzheimer's and you can't remember where you put your gun? And so it's it's just way better to look after yourself.
Well, at least in Canada, you guys got vans and like government officials will just drive around and do a mobile euthanasia.
Yeah, no problem here, man. They'll send you a postage for.
Oh, for some reason, our soldiers have PTSD? Well, here, try this. Try this treatment.
There's a cliff over here. Come jump.
Jump. We've cleared all the bodies out. You make a good, solid impact.
And both feet in the bag. Yeah, so no, I just that's I guess I say that he taught me to not be a quitter. And I don't know how true it is, but I think it is, so I guess that makes it true. But I don't like to not have what I want. I want to have a nice life. I want to have a healthy life. I want to not be sick. I don't want to not be, taking friggin' handful of medication every day.
Yeah. One for me too.
Gotta, learn how, right? Simple as that, right? It's like everything. It's a bit of a bitch to going. Like anything, once your first couple steps is always the hardest. Finding, there's a baby, get it. But you have, start learning baby steps, right? I mean, because once again, I've been studying this crap for many 25 years. Learning how to detoxify your house and getting the soap and the shampoo out of the house that are no good for you, and laundry soap and Febreze and all that crap, and just a bit at a time, right?
Yeah, it takes time. Yeah, I don't. Like, I use Dr. Bronner's maybe twice a week if I'm, real active and I break out, a good sweat. But usually I just use water. I'm in the shower. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't use anything.
Not crazy at all. I've done quite a bit of research on the bathing that we do and the chemicals that are foisted upon us for said bathing.
Nope, don't need all that stuff. I don't need to smell like a girl. And some of it, I'm sorry, it just smells disgusting. Maybe because, I don't smell that very often, but some of these women, like the fragrances that they use, it smells so chemically. Yeah, there's a fruity smell to it, or, some kind of smell. But then there's also this like heavy chemical smell. I don't even think they smell that. They're like immune.
I can't even walk down the laundry soap aisle at the supermarket. That Gain stuff, holy crap, that'll just rip the nose right off my face. Holy mackerel, that's so nasty.
Dude, if that isn't some kind of sebaceous updwelling of like pus-filled horror from hell, that Gain shit, I hate that with a passion.
Man. And then
they started adding it to other shit. It's in dish soap now. It's like, oh yeah, please spread that smell around. Whatever you do. Ugh. And I've always had the wolf nose. I'm always super sensitive, So like back in the day when you had that no smoking section of the restaurants, I'm like, said, where's the no cologne, perfume, and hairspray section? Where's that one at? So I can eat my meal without tasting what you decided to bathe yourself in before you came out.
Nowadays, they advertise for. Remember how you used to buy antiperspirant and put under your arms? Oh, now you put it all over your body. Commercials nowadays, it just makes you sick. Oh, they want you to fucking put deodorant on your stomach because you might sweat. Well, fucking, you need to exercise more. I don't know. Just for sales. I mean, I remember way long time ago, like 1 million years ago, they talked about a marketing thing, and if you had a bar of soap or a stick of deodorant, and you could sell one to every American, that's 300 million sales units. You could retire. You don't have to do anything else. So I mean, that's what makes them want to have 15 variety and convince you to buy one of every one. I mean, they just make so much money off this stuff. It's crazy, right?
I quit using all that stuff. Like, I went to a cucumber deodorant for a little bit, and it was just, So, because I used to use the Old Spice, and then I saw aluminum, all that aluminum crap in like every type of deodorant. I couldn't find one. So I went to an all-natural store, and they had this cucumber rock thing that didn't fit. So I just quit using deodorant. I just quit.
Yeah.
Real quick, Ian, Liz says good night. She definitely doesn't want to, but she has to go to bed. She has a dentist appointment in less than 7 hours. My goodness, if there's anything I do, send you lots of extra love for that one. Not a fan.
She's the best egg ever.
She's a damn good egg. You are right, sir.
Hey, Rico, yeah, I'll go on your show.
Yeah, that had a lot to do with it too, Accidental Alchemist. I quit eating a lot of garbage.
Hey, Shane, how's it going?
So I didn't really smell as bad as when I was living off of Taco Bell and McDonald's dollar menus.
Yeah, 100%. Everything changes when you clean your diet up.
Started doing an apple a day and all that kind of stuff. Drink a lot more water. A lot less Mountain Dew.
And corn syrup. Corn syrup guaranteed is GMO'd. 90% of soy in the U.S. is GMO'd, and 75% of corn in the U.S. is GMO.
Other countries won't even feed it to their cattle.
Yeah, well, because it makes the cattle not able to reproduce. I mean, it's but there's no studies against humans. Well, fuck, do we need them? But yeah, so you gotta stay away from all that soda shit. It's all full of that. All full of that.
Yeah, there's a good reason why Melinda Gates took her name off the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Now it's just the Gates Foundation. You wouldn't dare just say the Bill Gates Foundation. And Melinda didn't have nothing to do with it no more.
Well, I think they had something to do with the divorce, didn't it? Didn't they get a divorce?
Yeah, but does that really mean that you can't have a charity or whatever?
It means if you set up your own, you can probably skim a whole lot more from yours than trying to split the take from your ex-husband.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she stepped down. I forget what it said. I didn't really retain too much of it. He's just an evil slime ball. I'm glad people are finally coming around to see what kind of person he was or is. South Park, you're right. You ever see the South Park where Bill Gates has all the tattoos and everything? And him and I think Mickey beats the shit out of him though, Mickey Mouse. I think that's how it went. But South Park had him as this like he's a nerd and a dork with the sweater and the glasses. And then when he gets in private, he takes it off and he's this ripped guy with tattoos all over him. Something like that. See if I can't find it.
I heard that about Michael Jackson. Was that when most people think of Michael Jackson's voice, they think of his sort of very soft-spoken public speaking. This is the way I'm going to present myself as to be disarming towards you. But then the minute you were alone with him or behind closed doors, it was like a regular, not like super deep, but like a regular guy's voice. He wasn't always talking like Michael. As soon as the door closed, he'd be like, whoa, Jesus, I thought motherfucker would never leave. And just talk like a regular person. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like the Prestige.
I guess that's why Stevie Wonder wore the glasses, right? They say he wasn't blind.
Right, that was just to sell it.
Yeah.
So you didn't see him blink.
Oh, it's when he fought the Sony CEO in like a battle to the death in front of all the children for some reason. It looks like, I don't know. Knew I wasn't crazy. I actually have him on a few different times, acting like a psychopath.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll ship him over to Putin. Is he looking to extradite Fauci right now?
I took away his security. I know that.
Didn't I? No, I thought I heard that Russia wants us to take him and hold him for crimes against humanity or something.
I'd be all right with that. See how good your pardon does over there, cocksucker.
Yeah.
Pardon my language.
Fucking pardon this.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
Well, I was just thinking about that damn insurance company CEO that just went and got blasted in the face right in the middle of the street like a dog. And how that may or may not relate to Trump removing Fauci's security detail. But whatever. Oh, gave him blanket immunity, did you? Well, we'll just see how he holds up in the court of public opinion. By the way, you don't get security anymore.
Yeah. You're going to pay for with all that tax dollar money that you saved up over the years. Kickback.
Pitchforks and torches. I think that's what the party calls for.
That or guillotines. Shout out John Savage.
Hell, I'd take a good old rail out the back of town.
I say we just take him back to Wuhan. Use him as a subject for a little motherfucking gain of function research.
Yeah, you know what? I don't. I would rather prefer to make sure he never had an opportunity to do anything ever again. You can maybe save his head for gain of function research. In that facility, in his torso in that facility.
Just put him right on the shelf next to Disney, right?
Yeah. Put him on a fucking rocket and send him to space like they did Scotty. Didn't they allegedly send his atom to space?
I think so. or at least they put it in a bottle rocket.
I'm sure they charged the company or the family enough money to.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And even still, they probably just took a big pile from the communal ashes. It may not be only Scotty in there.
Yeah,
you get a better rate that way.
Never is.
Well, I reckon we could probably wrap this up. We're just about to hit 3 hours. I know, right?
Didn't have a clue.
Flies by
that late because usually Shell has gone to bed around 8:30 or so when she comes through and tells me she's going to lay down and get some rest. It's usually a little earlier than this, so I had no clue. It already hit the 9 o'clock mark. I wasn't looking at that. Well, damn. All right. Well, Ian, needless to say, you are never barred from the door you just came through to get to this show. It's always open. No, well, that's not true. That's the ironwork. I'm sorry. I lied. Look at me lying.
This door will close behind you, Ian.
This door is shut. Once you're out, buddy, we're locking that fucker. Now,
but we can throw you in.
Essentially, is what I'm trying to say. And so, that being said, anytime you want to hop in the morning show, just say something in chat, and you will be popped right in. And we always have the after show where we hang out and gap and whatever. You never know. It could be just talking. It could be watching Zach create nightmare animals for his books. It could be game time. You just never know what's going to happen on an after show. But it's definitely a good fellowship, whatever's going on. And you're welcome to be part of it. So. What was that? I'm sorry.
Or yeah, I say it's just hard this time of year with the snow. I have to go out so early.
That's your day. That's your time of rolling. Righto, I get you, brother. Well, it's good to see you there then when you've got that lingering above you, about to go out in that, because that's rough early. I don't see how Josh has been doing it as he's done it all these many years, getting up so early and then running out and squinting at shit
well,
all day long.
At least I don't live in Canada.
Well, there is
that. Fight 7 feet of snow.
No. The pile of snow. So I'll see if I can get some photos tomorrow and put them on Telegram. But the mounds of snow beside the driveway are as high as a truck.
Oh my! That's nuts, man.
Yeah. I'll take a bit of video and I'll upload it to YouTube and send you a link.
Yeah, please do that, brother.
We all can have a little laugh. But yeah, there's a boatload. I mean, I think yesterday probably got about 10 inches easy. No, that was just yesterday.
The Great White North.
Just Canada, whatever, another day.
That's right. And to still be so polite. Well, just wait. One of these days, you're going to be just another American state. You can be as rude as you want to be.
They want to make us all one nice little round world. So, I mean, sooner or later, they're going to try, right?
Sounds like he's trying right now. I think he's about ready to reintroduce the Amero. Probably going to be the new digital currency. Oh, forgot about that, did you? We'll just bring back the Amero. We're just going to incorporate Mexico and Canada.
Yeah.
And we'll just all start using the Amero as part of your new social credit. Congratulations. Or he puts us all back on the gold standard. Who the fuck knows?
Well, I choose to be optimistic. We are creators. We create our reality. And it's in our best interest to see a better positive outlook than it is to see a negative outlook. So that's what I think. So for that purpose alone, I'm going to be optimistic and see us winning all the fucking way.
I like that, my friend. I like that a lot.
They can suck it.
If we're all creators and if there are people that don't bother to create, they bother to not create, wouldn't they just then sort of be subject to whatever that creation is by the other people that are actually doing the creating?
And I think that's why they use all the manipulation and the and all that stuff, because most of us, we don't know that we're creators, so they use all these false flags and all this spelling, all the spells and all that stuff to use us against ourselves, humanity against itself, and feed them. And I 100% see that. I 100% believe that's the case.
And I see it as a two-pronged approach too. Not only are all the spellings and the manipulations used to keep us either apathetic to the creation, to creating, but also as a force multiplier to the magic that they are using to create. Part of that occulted knowledge of here is the most efficient and effective way to manipulate your reality around you, and here are little things you can do that are going to give you a boost over just conscious thinking and the power of positive thought and all of that other stuff that we do to create our reality. But you can go ahead.
Sorry. They have all the universities, they have all the professors, they have all the studies. They've been studying this fucking Edward Bernays and all these guys, forever and ever, learning how the psyche works and how the fucking brain works and how to manipulate it. And they stack the deck so hard against us. I mean, every day it's like compounding interest, and almost, maybe not strictly a huge compound, but it's, I would think, a compounding interest kind of effect. The farther we go down this timeline, the more power they have, because of, like you say, they're using our innate abilities against us.
Yep. Didn't mean to open up that can of worms. Well, thanks for coming. I know we kind of interrupted your flow. Your nap threw you off, and then you're expecting to come in a little bit later, but we appreciate you coming today.
Probably didn't need it. I probably, you guys, it was a pretty engaging conversation, so I don't imagine I would have fell asleep through it if I hadn't known that.
Well, as much as we enjoyed, and thank you for being here tonight, we enjoy and thank you for being in the chat all the times that you can be there. It really does mean a lot that you're there, and I think speaks a lot to the people that are in the chat right now and that come in and hit the comment section or just kind of lurk silently. We appreciate the hell out of all you fine folks.
As much as I love them all, I love you guys, and I consider myself blessed for having found you and ability to join the family.
Well, we love that you're here, man.
Absolutely.
I get to come back on a regular and enjoy it.
Well, we look forward to it. We look forward to you coming back and sharing some more of your life and your journey with us.
Well, thank you.
And Rico is on Skype as well. I don't know if that's how they do their show, but it is an easy way to get with him if you are interested in being part of the sombrero there.
StreamYard is
if not
their show.
Is that how I thought they did it with that, but I didn't want to speak out of turn.
Pretty
But
sure.
yeah, man, we can help you get together if it's, behind the scenes.
We chat all the time on
Do
Telegram.
you? Okay, I wasn't sure. I was just
I know.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
We
Rico's
definitely
good.
love Rico and his crew. And in fact, I saw Lowry there in chat and shouted out to him about writing that song, and we just hadn't got together to do it yet. So we're going to make it happen. I know we will. Well, again, Ian, thank you so much. Thank you for the love you share all the time in chat. You really, dude, you really have taken a special place in my heart. I can't tell you how excited I get when one of the cats hops up here and you're in chat, and I know I can show you the cat hanging out or being around. So, and I know there's other fur parents there in the chat. I'm not denying you guys at all, but yeah, it just makes my heart glow when I see it's a baby kitty. So, thank you for that one. Love you, friend.
Very much. I'm glad it makes you happy. I know the baby kitties make me happy.
Yeah. I'll refrain. I abstain.
There's enough dog love in the world. Me and Ian got this.
Yeah, that's right.
And maybe I'll have to reach out to
dog
Amanda.
products and one short corner of the shelf of the cat. I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe I'll reach out to Amanda and we can get some arranged. That needs to happen. Needs to happen doesn't mean I'm going to do anything about it. Just know that it needs to happen. And make sure you are still subscribed. I see Facebook still slowly bleeding off subscribers from us. Just go ahead and double check, make sure you are still subscribed, and you little notification bell, make sure it's still set to all and not personalized or some other shit. Feel free to roll back through the catalog. Got about 9 years worth of shows.
See a couple in there with Jerry.
You will see a couple in there. Probably some of our most popular.
Absolutely. That being said, we need to reach out to Jerry and make another one soon.
So, yeah, look for that. This is why I tell you to make sure that says all in the notifications when you hit the bell. That way, when we do have Jerry on, you're not going to miss it. Because YouTube's consistent.
YouTube sucks.
Consistently.
That's great.
Oh, we love you guys. Do enjoy your weekend. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Little iron in our chargeable.
Wow, we have completely talked my earbud into going boom. So it is dying on me. That's
dying.
rare. Thank you, Ian.
Welcome. Glad to be of service.
All right. You guys have a great weekend. We will see you back next week over at freeworld.fm, where we do a little show called The Ironworks every Monday,
Hey guys,
Wednesday, and
Monday.
Friday morning. See you Monday. And we will see you guys Monday as well. Love you. Be good. Be well. Do good and do it well. Bye-bye.